So my master told me that if you ever fall off a cliff, you should take 2 steps forward. That's how you find your destiny. Ancient wisdom, very profound. I took 2 steps forward and fell off a bigger cliff. That was my last thought as a normal human being. Not "I love you, mom." Not "I regret nothing." Just me, midair, cursing a dead man's advice while the rocks came up to meet me. Then I woke up. Different ceiling, wooden beams, ancient style, no nails anywhere. I was lying on a bed the size of a boat, wearing a white robe that definitely wasn't mine. No hospital, no IV drip, no sirens. Cool, very cool. I sat up so fast my head spun, looked around. Old house, old furniture, zero electricity, zero anything from the last 1,000 years. I jumped off a cliff and woke up somewhere with strange clothes and no light bulbs. You do the math. Transmigration, the real thing. The thing I'd read about in 400 cheap web novels while pretending to write my own. And then my skull tried to split open. Information poured into my head like someone had hooked a fire hose to my ear. Memories that weren't mine. A whole life uploaded at once. I curled up on that bed and made a noise I'm not proud of. When it stopped, I had the full picture. My name is Lin Jie, which is hilarious because my name was already Lin Jie. Same name, different face. This one's a lot better looking, which I'm choosing to interpret as an apology from the universe. My father is Wang Tao, clan chief of the Lin family, a 5-star great master. Big deal in the western regions, genuinely powerful man, and his only son can't cultivate. Not cultivates slowly, not cultivates badly, cannot, at all, blocked at the root. In a world where everyone measures your worth by how hard you punch, I'd been born with the punching stat set to 0 and grayed out. The world is called the Sacred Martial Continent. 10 realms of power, 9 stars each. War Apprentice, War Master, Great Master, War Spirit, War King, War Emperor, and it keeps climbing until you hit God of War. My dad, a 5-star Great Master, is second rung. Most people never get that far, and he produced me. The one guy in the whole family who couldn't take the first step. Great, fantastic, transmigrated straight into the trash tier. I sat there feeling extremely sorry for myself. And then a fly landed on my forehead. Buzz, 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 right in the middle of my crisis, circling my head like it was doing a victory lap. I swatted it, pure reflex. Ding! I froze. What was that? Nothing. Empty room, no one there. I decided I'd finally cracked. Then, congratulations to player Lin Jie for killing a fly. Gained 1 experience point. Congratulations to player Lin Jie for completing the first kill mission. Reward, 10 War God value. Congratulations to player Lin Jie for activating the War God system. I sat very still. Somewhere in this universe, there is a design document, and on that document, someone wrote, "Activation trigger, kill 1 fly," and then someone else approved it. I killed a housefly and unlocked a cheat. Okay, I said out loud. Okay. Invincible. Look, I'd never cultivated. I didn't know a meridian from a mailbox. I couldn't tell you the difference between an earth rank technique and a soup recipe, but I've played games, thousands of hours. I know how to grind. I know how to farm mobs, run quests, chase drops, and abuse every mechanic the developers were dumb enough to leave in. They gave the video game system to the guy who plays video games. Somebody's getting fired for that. The system asked if I wanted my newbie package. I said claim so fast I nearly bit my tongue. 900 experience points dumped straight into my body. My feet lit up with a yellow halo, the exact same glow you get in every online game when your bar fills. Level up, level up, level up. Congratulations, 1-star War Apprentice, 2-star, 3. It didn't stop until 9. An hour ago, I was a certified waste of oxygen. Now I was a 9-star War Apprentice, which took most people 6 or 7 years of eating bitterness and getting up at dawn. I got it during a nap, and the package kept unwrapping. Basic fist technique, basic saber technique, basic sword technique, a martial skill called mountain collapse, earth rank, a finishing move called mountain splitting earth shattering slash, and then all secondary professions of the sacred martial continent acquired. All of them. Alchemy, forging, puppetry, the stuff people spend entire lifetimes on, just handed over like complimentary mints. I opened the character panel with a thought, and there it all was, laid out in neat little rows. Rank, experience, skills, and a whole row of grayed out icons at the bottom, waiting. The grayed out icons are always the best part. That's the developer whispering it gets better. Let me explain the martial skill thing because it matters. Skills here come in 4 tiers: yellow, profound, earth, heaven. Each tier splits into low, middle, upper. My father, the clan chief, the 5-star great master, the strongest man in this compound, his best technique is profound rank, middle grade. I'd just been handed an earth rank skill, free, in the starter box, like a keychain. The finisher was worse, or better depending which end you're standing on. Summon a blood sword, slam it down, crack the earth open, and let lava do the rest. 10 meters by 10 meters of everything dies. Costs 10 War God value to fire. Area damage. In a world where everyone fights one guy at a time, politely, in turns. Let the storm rage, I said to the empty room, because nobody was around to hear me be embarrassing. That's when someone knocked. Brother Lin Jie? Brother Lin Jie, are you there? A girl's voice. Soft, warm. The kind that makes your chest do something stupid before your brain catches up. I'm here, I said. The door opened and An Lan came in, and I understood immediately why the old Lin Jie had been such a mess. She's beautiful. Not the loud kind. The kind that makes a room reorganize itself around her. And apparently, she's ice cold to everyone else in this family. But from the second she stepped in, she was looking at me like I was made of glass. Are you all right? I stood up, spun in a circle, held out my arms. Perfectly fine. She blinked. Then she quietly put away a bottle of healing medicine she'd been holding behind her back. Lanner brought this for you, but it seems we don't need it. She'd brought me medicine. Nobody in this house had brought me anything in years except insults. The borrowed memories filled in the gap. That morning, the Lin family had run their annual talent assessment. Every year the same ritual, and every year the same result for me. Nothing. Zero. The clan chief's useless son. Every year they laugh. This morning, a few of them decided laughing wasn't enough. They blocked my path, said things. The old me finally snapped and swung first. That went about how you'd expect. He got beaten half to death, dragged himself off, and died somewhere quiet, which is the only reason I'm wearing his face. Don't worry, I told her, I'm fine. And I meant it, and something in my chest went warm and possessive and a little bit dangerous, and I'd known this girl for 90 seconds. That's when the door exploded inward, not opened, kicked, wood chips everywhere. 4 young men strolled in through the mess like they owned the property, which, to be fair, they sort of did. Lin Jie, wasn't this morning's lesson enough? The talker was Lin Rui, 6-star War Apprentice and one of Xiao Ming's dogs, and Xiao Ming is the 7th Elder's grandson. In this family, that means he can do basically whatever he wants to me. You actually dared to make Miss Lanner bring you medicine? Do you know what her status is? Do you know what yours is? You're trash that can't cultivate. He said it the way you'd complain about a stray dog on the good carpet. Anlan stepped in front of me. Actually stepped in front of me. This girl who probably weighs as much as one of my legs. Lin Rui, I came on my own. Brother Lin Jie didn't ask me. Miss Lanner, don't worry. We'll make sure this brat stops seducing you. Go on back. Leave it to us. Seducing her. The dead guy had been too shy to make eye contact. He was seducing her the way a rock seduces a river. Then Rui looked past her at me. Coward, hiding behind a woman. Come out and fight if you dare. Now, here's the thing about being handed a cheat code 20 minutes before someone insults you. You want to use it. You want it so badly your teeth itch. Who are you calling a coward? I took Anlan's hand and moved her behind me, gently. She didn't resist. She went very quiet. Stay behind me. Don't move. She said in the smallest voice I've ever heard. Ding! Congratulations to player Lin Jie for gaining 10 favorability from Anlan. Current favorability, 70. Anlan has already fallen for you. I nearly choked. There's a number. There's an actual number. 70 out of what, 100? What happens at 100? Does she propose? Does the sky open? Focus. Fight now. Statistics later. Rui waved his 3 thugs forward. Break his legs. They came in casual, strolling. 3 outer clan members, 2-star War Apprentices, treating this like a chore. They'd known me my whole life as the boy who couldn't fight back. I threw 3 punches. Bang, bang, bang. All 3 went out the door they'd just kicked in. Sandbags in a hurricane. Not one of them made a sound on the way out, because you need a functioning ribcage to scream. Ding! Killed a Lin family outer clan member. 100 experience points. 3 times. Murder gives experience. I want you to sit with that for a second, because I had to. The system doesn't have a morality filter. It has a loot table. Rui's mouth was open. How? That's impossible. It really was, from where he was standing. He'd watched me get stomped that same morning. He rallied, though, because he was a 6-star, and those 3 were 2 stars, and in his head that math still worked. Also, and this is the part that killed him, he genuinely believed nobody would dare touch him. He belonged to Xiao Ming. He had insurance. Lin Jie, you wouldn't dare. I stepped forward and hit him in the stomach. He went out the door with the rest. Landed badly. Didn't die immediately, which was on purpose. I walked out after him, holding Anlan's hand, and put my foot on his chest. Now tell me, am I the coward hiding behind a woman? I'm not going to pretend that wasn't the best I'd felt in 2 lifetimes. Beautiful girl on one arm, bully under one boot. Somewhere a violin was playing just for me. He spat blood at my shoe. You piece of trash. The 5th young master won't let this go. Don't worry, I said. He'll be down there to keep you company soon. And I stepped down. He died with his eyes wide open. Very dramatic. Very unsettling. I nudged him over with my foot so he'd stop staring at me. Ding! Killed 6-star War Apprentice Lin Rui. 300 experience points. Ding! Side quest activated. Send Lin family 5th young master Xiao Ming to hell. Reward for first side quest activation. Heavenly Eye technique. Ding! Congratulations to player Lin Jie for successfully provoking others, gaining the heart of strong experts, and obtaining 3,000 blazing flame fire. I stood there over a corpse getting showered in loot like I'd cleared a raid boss. The Heavenly Eye first. A divine art of the heavens, says the description, capable of identifying all things. In practice, I look at you, I see your name, your rank, your techniques, and a threat assessment. I can scout every person I meet, forever. Do you understand what that's worth? Every disaster in every story I've ever read comes from someone punching a stranger who turned out to be a hidden expert. I just permanently deleted that entire genre of death from my life. Then the fire. 3,000 blazing flame fire. Purple-black flame, born in the starry sky. Passive effect, recovery doubled. Active effect, burns everything, cannot be put out with water. Cannot be put out with water. I looked at the 4 bodies on my doorstep. than at my hand. The universe had handed me a corpse disposal service and a heart regeneration buff in the same package. Brother Lin Jie, Anlan said quietly. You killed someone. Right. The witness. The beautiful, cold to everyone, warm to me witness who was still holding my hand. I turned around and gave her my most reassuring face. They came in here to break my legs, Lanner, and I honestly didn't know they'd be that fragile. She made a sound. It took me a second to identify it as a laugh she was trying to stop. Lanner isn't that cowardly. I'm not blaming Brother Lin Jie. They deserved it. I'm just afraid you'll be punished. Afraid I'd be punished. 4 bodies on the floor, and her first thought was my paperwork. Watch this, I said, and flipped my hand. Purple-black flame bloomed in my palm. It split into 4 and drifted onto the bodies like it knew where to go. Whoosh. No ash, no bones, nothing. 4 men gone from the world in one breath, and the ground wasn't even scorched. I put the fire away and gave her a smug little grin. See? Problem solved. She stared at the empty ground where 4 people used to be, then at me. Ding, favorability +5, current 75. The system rewarded me for arson. This world is broken. She left after that, red to the ears, and stopped at the edge of the courtyard without turning around. Lauder won't tell anyone, but Brother Lin Jie, you hid this from me for so long. Please keep getting stronger. From now on, Lanner will be relying on you to protect her. Then she ran and left a smell of something sweet behind her, and I stood in my wrecked doorway grinning like an idiot. Fight monsters, level up. Girl, life is good. Son? I nearly jumped out of my skin. A branch shifted in the big tree outside my house, and a middle-aged man dropped out of it. Magnificent robes, walks like a dragon, face that looks disturbingly like mine. My father, Wang Tao, 5-star great master, who had been sitting in a tree during all of that. Father, I said, calculating very fast how much of a fight I could put up if this went badly. Answer, not much, but I had a finisher and a strange fire and a real willingness to be rude about it. Was that Lan Air who just left? She brought me medicine. He looked at me for a long moment, not at the ground where 4 bodies had been, not at my splintered door, just at me. Then he said, Lan Air is virtuous and beautiful, but son, if you truly want to be with her, you'll have to work much harder. Otherwise, better to give up early. Why? Just listen to me. And that was it. That was the entire conversation about the 4 men I just deleted from existence. He'd seen it. He'd seen all of it, from a tree, and he'd decided the important topic was my love life. We have a distinguished guest coming tomorrow, he said. Prepare yourself. Don't be rude. Who? You'll find out. He patted my shoulder and left with a mysterious smile, which is a thing dads do in every universe, and I hate it in all of them. I stood there frowning. Something was off about him. My injuries this morning were public knowledge in this family. He hadn't asked about them once. Hadn't been surprised to find me standing. He hadn't been surprised by anything. Whatever. He didn't look at me like a man planning to kill me, and in this world that's basically a hug. An important guest, sure, big day tomorrow. But it was night now, and I had a system, and there were monsters out there full of experience points, and you cannot expect a man to sleep through that. Go to bed early, he said. Sleep, I thought, is for people without a level bar. Wind Moon Forest, 10 miles outside Fengyue City, and known locally as the place adventurers go to become fertilizer. Yao beasts everywhere. Same 10-tier ranking as humans. Levels 1 through 7 match up with War Apprentice through War Ancestor, and 8 through 10 get their own titles. Beast Venerable, Beast Emperor, Beast God, and beasts are stronger than humans at the same tier, always. Tougher hide, faster reflexes, better instincts. That's just the tax you pay for being born with thumbs. Local legend says something Beast Venerable class lives in there. Everybody says it. Nobody's ever come back with proof, mostly because of the not coming back. The outer ring is the safe part, if safe means level 1. It gets worse the deeper you go. I went at night, into a forest famous for killing people at night, alone, on my first day of having powers. In my defense, the alternative was lying in bed staring at a level bar. Dark clouds, thin moon, wind whistling through the branches, something screaming in the distance. Very atmospheric, very much the kind of place where the camera lingers on your face right before something eats it. Heavenly eye. And the forest turned into daylight. Every shadow, every hiding thing, every set of eyes in the undergrowth, tagged and labeled like a mini-map. The night is dark and full of terrors, and I could see all of them, and they could not see me. There was a wolf crouched in the grass 20 paces ahead, absolutely convinced it was invisible. Name, Gale Wolf. Level 1 Yao Beast. Social, ambush predator, very fast, spits small wind blades. Threat assessment, low. Poor thing had picked the worst possible night to be a wolf. Let's start with you. I crossed the gap and put a fist through its skull. Simple, direct. Its head came apart like a watermelon on a summer show. Ding! Killed level 1 Yao Beast Gale Wolf, 50 experience points. And that was the sound that owned my next 4 hours. Ding, ding, ding. 50 here, 50 there, 150 for an elite ironhide boar that thought it was tough. I walked deeper and killed everything that moved, and a few things that were trying very hard not to. Somewhere in there my bar filled and the halo came back. Congratulations, advanced to War Master. Congratulations, movement technique reward obtained, Phantom Step. permanently increases speed by 5. Congratulations, obtained 1 small wound medicine. Congratulations, obtained 1 power pill. Let me talk about the pills because this is where the whole thing tipped from cheat to unfair. Small wound medicine restores 30% of your health in 5 seconds. In gamer terms, a potion. In this world's terms, a miracle that alchemy grandmasters would knife each other for. Power pill permanently increases strength by 1 point. Permanently, not a temporary boost, not a buff with a timer. Permanent, stacking, no side effects, and monsters drop them like candy. Every player knows the truth. The scariest thing in any game isn't the boss. It's the guy who can chug potions. You can be a god, and if he out-heals you, you lose. I swallowed the power pill and felt myself get incrementally, permanently better. And then I got greedy, and greed is where the story actually starts. Deeper in, silver light between the trees. Name, Gale Wolf King, level 17. Level 2 Yao Beast, silver tier boss, alpha of the pack. Speed exceptional, can fire dozens of wind blades in an instant. Appears with a large pack. Assessment, upper middle threat, boss. I got about half a second of pure joy before I looked past it and counted the eyes. Behind that silver wolf, there were more than 100 Gale Wolves, packed shoulder to shoulder, all of them looking at me. Bloodshot eyes in rows in the dark. The forest was already crowded. Now it was standing room only. Options. Retreat is available. I just picked up Phantom Step and outrunning wolves was on the table, but that's a boss. First boss. Bosses drop things. I'd like to tell you I made a careful tactical assessment. What actually happened is that a voice in my head said loot table and my legs stopped moving. And then I remembered the finisher. 10 by 10 meters. Everything inside dies. I looked at the wolves. Very densely packed wolves. Wolves helpfully arranged in a shape approximately 10 meters by 10 meters. The corners of my mouth went up, and I don't think it was a nice smile. Ow! The king howled, and the pack came in like water through a broken dam. Wave after wave, tight formation, disciplined. This thing actually commanded them, which for a level 2 beast is genuinely impressive. Any normal war master here dies. That's not an exaggeration. He gets swarmed and there's nothing left to bury. I backed up until they filled the box. Left fist to the waist, right hand up, jump, slam, mountain collapse, earth split slash. The ground opened. Not cracked, opened. A 10 by 10 square of forest floor split apart and magma came up out of it, and the wind turned to fire, and the temperature went from autumn night to inside of a forge in one breath. The wolves in the front didn't even scream. Wolves need lungs for that, and theirs went first. Trees came down, then the trees burned, then the ash burned. When it stopped, the clearing was a black rectangle. No grass, no trunks, no corpses. Just charcoal dust and heat shimmer, and me standing in the middle of it with my hand still out. I actually gasped at my own attack, like a tourist. No wonder it cost 10 war god value. Then the notifications hit. Ding 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 ding. 200 times, a solid wall of 50 experience chimes. Then, achieved 100 kill streak, obtained 10 power pills. Achieved 200 kill streak, obtained 10 agility pills. Killed over 100 Gale Wolves. Title obtained, Wolf Slayer. Obtained 5 power pills, 5 agility pills, 5 stamina pills, 5 intelligence pills, 30 permanent stat pills. From one button. I stood in the ashes doing the math on how much stronger I'd just gotten, and I got so absorbed in my own character sheet that I did the single dumbest thing available. I stopped paying attention. Behind me, silence. The good kind of silence, if you're a wolf. The Gale Wolf King had dodged. Of course it had. It was fast, and it was smart, and it had watched 100 of its subjects turn into smoke, and instead of running, it had circled around and waited for me to admire my own work. Fangs out, silver fur up, eyes like 2 coals, coming for my throat. If I hadn't heard something else right then, I'd have died on day 1 with my inventory screen open. Sha sha sha. Footsteps, somebody running through dry leaves, far off, coming fast. I turned my head to look, which is the only reason the claws hit my shoulder instead of my neck. Silver light, blood. My robe opened from back to shoulder, and a long, thin line of me opened with it. I was careless, understatement of 2 lifetimes. That thing had been aiming at my spine. And then I got angry, genuinely angry. I'd been alive in this world for about 11 hours, and some overgrown dog had nearly ended the run. It landed and opened its mouth and fired. Dozens of white crescents, screaming through the air. Wind blades, phantom step. 4 of me. 4 blurred outlines going 4 directions, and the real one twisting out of the line of fire. The blades missed and cut down a tree as thick as my waist. Just took it off at the base. I looked at the stump, then at my shoulder, then at the wolf. Fine. It had just spent everything it had. That's the window. I jumped and came down with my elbow. Mountain collapse. The ground sank 3 meters across. The wolf's spine folded into a V that spines are not supposed to make, and everything inside it stopped being inside it. It died with its tongue out and its eyes furious. Ding. Killed level 2 Yao Beast Gale Wolf King. 10,000 experience points. First silver tier boss kill. Reward, Ice Sword. Obtained martial skill, Blade of Gale. Obtained level 2 Yao Beast Inner Core. Title upgraded, Wolf Slaying Master. Rank increased, 2-star War Master. 10,000 experience from 1 animal. I'd been farming 50s. Bosses, gentlemen, always kill the boss. The loot was where it got funny. Ice Sword, legendary blade forged by a water god from the frozen heart of a winter mountain, deals extra freezing damage, chance to freeze on hit. Use rank 50. I was level 11. They gave me a divine artifact and a note saying, come back in about a year. I've never wanted to punch a menu so badly in my life. Blade of Gale was better. Ranged crescent that does damage equal to my strength and it scales as I grow. A projectile, in a world where basically nobody has one. Wolf Slaying Master, 20% extra damage to wolf-type creatures. Extremely useful if I ever meet a wolf boss again, which, spoiler, I did, and it did not go well for the wolf, and the footsteps were still coming. Closer now, 4 or 5 people, moving fast, using clumsy tree branch technique to cover ground. I waited for them. I was genuinely grateful. Whoever they were, their noise had saved my neck about 90 seconds ago. Dying to a random forest mob on day 1, with a divine cheat in my head, would have been the most embarrassing death in the history of transmigration. 5 men landed in the clearing. Big, mean, armed, and the one in front had that specific aura you learn to recognize instantly. Ding Lei, 9-star War Apprentice, 1 step from War Master, owns a yellow rank high-grade technique, which around here is a big deal. Used to be called the strongest under War Master in this family, right up until a Lin family genius named Lin Piao Miao beat him at the same rank and took the title off him. Xiao Ming's #1 dog. They stopped dead when they saw the clearing. Put yourself in their boots. They've been tracking the useless clan chief's son, who cannot cultivate, who got beaten up by a mid-tier thug this morning. Their tracker keeps finding beast corpses along the trail, and they keep telling each other it must be a coincidence. And then they walk into a black crater full of ash with a dead silver boss lying in a pit, and me standing in the middle of it, filthy and bleeding and calm. Are you Lin Jie? He genuinely wasn't sure. In the dark, with that aura coming off me, the math wouldn't add up. That's right, and who are you? I dusted my hands off while I said it, which apparently is a very insulting thing to do, judging by his face. He got himself together, went gloomy and formal. Truly unexpected. Our young master Lin Jie was hiding his cultivation this whole time. So many of us deceived. I suppose Lin Rue is already dead by your hand. Oh, you're Xiao Ming's, and all my gratitude evaporated. These were the men sent to finish me. They'd saved my life entirely by accident while coming to end it. Karma has a sense of humor. Then Lei started doing law at me. Where did you hide Lin Rue's body? Do you know the penalty for killing a Lin family member without cause? What penalty for killing a Lin family member? If I'm a Lin family member, how do you explain him trying to kill me? Impossible. I know Lin Rue's character. He would never dare touch the clan chief's son. I want you to appreciate the artistry here. In one sentence, he flipped the murder onto me and rewrote his own assassin as a choir boy. This man could have run a newspaper. That's ridiculous. Lin Rue was messing around at most. So if I cut your head off, am I also just messing around? Regardless, you harmed your own kind. I have the right to execute you on the spot. Which eye of yours saw me kill Lin Rue? Show me the evidence. He actually stopped. His whole case ran on me being too scared to argue. You just admitted it. My brothers heard you. Tell him. Yes, chorused the brothers. Where's the evidence? I said, and held out my hand. He gave up on the law. Evidence? Once you're dead, my word is the evidence. That's the thing about legal arguments here. They only last until one side remembers they brought swords. He waved the 4 outer clan members forward. 7-star War Apprentices. All of them. In Fengwei City, that's a real fighting force. I'd used Heavenly Eye the moment they landed. 4 7s and 1 9 against a 2-star War Master with Earth-rank techniques, a movement art, and a fistful of permanent stat pills. There's a gap in ranks, and then there's a canyon. I flicked my hand 4 times. Blade of Gale. 4 white crescents. No sound. They went out casually, the way you'd toss crumbs to birds. Puff, 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 puff. The 4 men kept walking for a moment. Just kept coming, mid-stride, like nothing had happened. Then a breeze went by, and a thin red line appeared across each of them, and they came apart along it and hit the ground. Lei's face did something complicated. I want to be clear about what he just watched. He brought 4 7-star War Apprentices, serious men, career muscle, and they were deleted in the time it takes to wave at someone. His legs went. I watched them go. Young Master Lin Jie, perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. With your character, how could you possibly have killed Lin Rui? 90 seconds ago, I'd been an unforgivable clan killer with an execution warrant. I couldn't help myself. But I really did kill Lin Rui. What should I do? Young Master killing Lin Rui was Lin Rui's own fault. He deserved to die. Beautiful. Look at that. Not one mention of harming his own kind. He was so indignant on my behalf you'd think Rui owed him money. So you're saying I'm innocent? Innocent. Completely innocent. I was blind. I didn't recognize your greatness. I arrested the wrong person. I'll leave now and go settle accounts with Lin Rui. He was already backing up, bowing every second step. Settle accounts with Lin Rui. Lin Rui is at the bottom of a hole in reality where my purple fire put him. Buddy, if you want to settle accounts with Lin Rui, I can arrange the meeting. I turned my back and walked deeper into the forest and flicked my wrist one more time without looking. There was a short scream behind me, then nothing but the smell of blood. That was Ding Lei, gone from the world, and I hadn't even broken stride. As for Xiao Ming, who arranged all of it, we'd settle that another day. I'd killed his dog first. He could think about what that meant. Ding, 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 ding. You know what the worst part is? I liked it. Not the killing, the number going up. That's the trap in the whole system, and I could already feel it closing. Every person who wants me dread is also a bag of experience points with legs. The system doesn't distinguish between a wolf and a man. Same chime, same bar. I told myself I'd keep it clean. Only the ones who come for me. Only the ones who earn it. I told myself that a lot over the next few months. Somewhere back in the compound, in a residence with better furniture than mine, the fifth young master was having a bad night. Zhao Ming, grandson of the seventh elder, which in this family is roughly a title of nobility, 6-star war master, handsome enough, ambitious, and absolutely rotted through with the specific poison that comes from wanting a girl who won't look at you. An Lan looks at me. She doesn't look at him. That's the whole engine of this man's life. So he'd arranged it. That morning's fight was his. He'd told Lin Rui to provoke me until it turned physical, so I could be killed during a scuffle nobody would question. He'd even paid in advance, promised Rui's family gold and comfort forever if he took the fall for murdering the clan chief's son. That's why a mid-level thug felt brave enough to kick down my door. Now Rui was missing. I was missing. There were signs of a struggle outside my house and no bodies to explain them. Investigate, he told his men. Now. I want them alive or I want the corpses. Either one. And he sent Ding Lei out into the night to make sure. I want to note, for the record, that Xiao Ming spent that entire night waiting for good news. He never got any. He never would. That's the thing about sending your best dog into a forest. Sometimes what comes back out isn't the dog. I stayed out there until the sky started turning gray, killed everything I could find in the level 1 belt, worked my way to the edge of the level 2s, and got exactly one useful lesson out of it. My kill speed was garbage. Ironhide Rhinoceros, level 2, 3 meters at the shoulder, skin like plate armor, likes to charge you at 40 miles an hour with a horn out front. I dodged it with Phantom Step, put a full force basic punch into its ribs, and knocked it 8 meters sideways. It got up. Bruised, annoyed, fundamentally fine. That's when I learned what a defense stat does to your afternoon. I ended up killing it with 3 consecutive Heavenly Star Palms. Wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I didn't have Heavenly Star Palm yet. That came off a corpse I hadn't made. Let me just say the rhinoceros took an embarrassing amount of effort for 3,000 experience points and leave it there. And that I made a point of walking around every other rhinoceros I saw for the rest of my life. I came out of Wind Moon Forest as the sun came up. 5-star War Master, covered in dirt, blood, ash, and other people's problems. 1 sleeve missing, courtesy of a level 3 mantis with blades for arms. 3 tears in my trousers, courtesy of an earth demon tiger with opinions. 12 hours earlier, I'd been a cripple who couldn't lift a training weight. Now I was a 5-star War Master with an Earth rank technique, a strange fire, a movement art, a divine appraisal eye, and a pocket full of pills that made me permanently better every time I swallowed one. And I looked like a beggar who'd lost a fight with a bonfire, which is exactly how I walked into the most important meeting the Lin family had held in a decade, because I'd completely forgotten about the distinguished guest. The main hall was full when I got there, my father at the head. Elders down one side, the promising young generation below them, and on the other side, 3 people in white who did not belong in this building. Guests from the Ouyang family, up north. An old man with gray hair and a spotless robe and small eyes that flicked around the room measuring the furniture. A young man beside him, handsome, elegant, wearing a purple cloud symbol on his chest and an expression like he'd stepped in something. And a girl, beautiful, genuinely, unfairly beautiful. Same purple cloud on her chest. Every young man in that hall was staring at her and pretending not to. And in the middle of all this, in the seat next to the elders, where no junior should ever sit, An Lan. Quiet, small. And nobody in that entire room found it strange. That's the first time I really wondered who she was. They'd been waiting. For me. An Lan had made them wait, which I learned later, and which is the single most stubborn thing anyone has ever done on my behalf. Why are we waiting for Lin Jie? Xiao Ming had said. He's never attended a Lin family gathering in his life. With his cultivation, he isn't qualified. My brother Lin Jie is Uncle Lin's son. Why isn't he qualified? Miss Lanner, forgive me, setting aside his character and talent, he's an unknown junior. It isn't dignified for so many of us to wait on a junior. And An Lan, who apparently has exactly one mode when it comes to me, said, I don't care, I'm waiting for him anyway. The whole hall went silent. This girl who never raises her voice had just gone full brat in front of 2 clans and an outside sect. How do you know he won't come? She asked Xiao Ming. And Xiao Ming smiled inside and thought, because I sent men to kill him last night, he's a corpse by now. What he said was, I just know his character. Knowing his own worthlessness, how could he embarrass himself like this? Really? 7th brother really understands me. I said it from the doorway. Everyone turned around. And I walked into the Lin family's formal reception hall, the face of the clan, where they receive honored guests, filthy, torn, smoke-blackened, with my chin up. An Lan lit up like a lamp. My father smiled into his sleeve. Xiao Ming's face did something I'd pay money to see again. And the 3 Ouyang guests looked at me with 3 different flavors of disgust. The old man was offended. The young man was contemptuous. And the girl looked at me the way you look at a fly that's landed in your food. Truly, a complete waste. That was the shared verdict, written across all 3 faces. The 7th elder went off first. Feng Wei, 2-star Great Master, second most powerful man in this clan, and the grandfather of the man who'd tried to have me killed twice in one day. Lin Jie, do you know where you are? As a member of the Lin family, how could I not? This is the main hall. Then you know it's where we receive honored guests. Look at yourself. What kind of behavior is this? I looked down at myself. 3 tears in the trousers, from the Earth Demon Tiger. 1 sleeve gone, from the Mantis. Honestly? Fair. Father, I said, turning to the head seat, does our family law say you can't enter the main hall in torn clothes? My father, who I am increasingly convinced enjoys chaos, shook his head very seriously. No, it does not. Then may I ask the 7th elder, what exactly have I done to offend you? You? How can a Lin family member have no sense of what's proper? What's proper? Is it edible? I want to be honest, I said that specifically to hurt him. And it worked. His fingers shook. My father cut in before it escalated, told me to find a seat and move things along, which was him saving me, and both of us knew it. So Anlan patted the seat beside her. Brother Lin Jie, sit here. 3 elders said no at once, because that row is the elders' row. If I sit there, I'm claiming elder status, a boy who can't cultivate, sitting level with the men who run this clan. It's not about the chair. It's never about the chair. I sat down. The 7th elder came out of his seat. How dare you? Now, before I sat, I'd taken a look. Heavenly Eye, quick and quiet. Xiao Ming. Rank 16, 6-star War Master. Yellow rank, high-grade cultivation. 2 techniques, Starry Palm, 3 Sound Fist. Assessment, slightly threatening. Your strength surpasses your opponent's. Feng Wei, 7th Elder. Rank 22, 2-star Great Master. Profound rank, low-grade cultivation. 4 techniques, one of them a sword art. Weapon, the Heavenly Sword. Assessment, extremely dangerous. Your strength is not much different from your opponent's, but your opponent can pose a huge threat to you. Read that carefully, because I did. Not much different from a 2-star Great Master. Me, 12 hours in, but extremely dangerous, because he's got 4 profound rank techniques and decades of using them, and I had 1 day of experience and a habit of standing still to read menus. Fine, so I couldn't kill the old man yet, but nobody in this room could make me stand up either. Look at yourself, the 7th Elder snarled. A useless brat who can't cultivate, sitting level with us? What's wrong? There's a seat. Am I not allowed to sit in it? I sat up a little straighter and did not move, and the entire senior leadership of the Lin family had to sit there and swallow it, because my father said enough and glared them into silence. Which brings us to the actual reason those 3 were sitting on the other side of the hall. The old man in white was called Great Master Zhao. He smiled a lot and got to the point slowly. Clan Chief Lin, the main reason we've come is that we have a favor to ask. My father smiled. Please speak freely. Does Clan Chief Lin know who this is? And he gestured at the girl. My father looked at her properly for the first time. His pupils shrank. Could it be Yue? Jiang Yue greets Uncle Lin, and my father's face went cold and stayed cold, and he didn't speak for a long moment. I leaned over to Anlan. Lanner, who are these people? Ouyang family, from the northern region, she whispered. That young man, see the purple cloud on his chest? That's the Purple Cloud sect, one of the 3 great sects of the north. Their outer sect alone has tens of thousands of members. Their inner sect elders are stronger than most aristocratic families. No wonder he's walking around like he owns the ceiling. Brother Lin Jie, her voice changed. Do you want to know who Jiang Yue is? Someone from the Ouyang family. Who else? She's your fiancé. I turned my head so fast I nearly pulled something. My fiancé, sitting 8 meters away, who hadn't looked at me once since I walked in, who had watched the entire seat fight without so much as blinking, like the whole thing was a play she'd wandered into. Ah, I understood the entire visit in about 2 seconds. Nobody travels from the northern region to a small city in the west bringing an inner sect disciple of a great sect as a decoration, unless they came to take something back. Great Master Zhao cleared his throat. Clan Chief Lin, this matter concerns Yue and the Purple Cloud sect. The sect leader personally gave the order. My father's hands closed on the armrests of his chair. He kept his voice flat. Great Master, please speak freely. Yue has joined the Purple Cloud sect. The sect leader has high expectations for her. He intends to groom her as the next sect leader, because they don't want her achievements to be limited. He looked at the wall while he said the rest. The sect leader learned of the marriage agreement between Yue and Lin Jie. He instructed me to break it off. The hall started buzzing before he'd finished. Break off the engagement. The Lin family started whispering immediately. And here's the beautiful thing. Most of them were on the Ouyang side. That good-for-nothing marrying a Ouyang daughter? Better to end it. If we refuse, we look bad. If we agree, people will just laugh at Lin Jie. What does that have to do with our family? That's my clan. That's the group of people who share my blood, deciding out loud that my humiliation was an acceptable price for a comfortable afternoon. My father's grip left grooves in the wood. He's the clan chief. Someone had walked into his hall and asked to cancel his son's engagement to his face, and his own elders were nodding along. And I sat there thinking a genuinely strange thought, which was, I've done this before. Different world, different body, same scene. My girlfriend on Earth left me for someone with a nicer car. I transmigrate across the boundary of death itself, and the universe goes, "Hey, remember this? Want to try it again, but with an audience?" "Break off the engagement?" I said. Jiang Yue still didn't look at me, not once. From the moment I entered to right now, she'd never so much as glanced my way. Not during the seat fight, not during the shouting, not now, when her own engagement was on the table. Wow, that is a level of not caring you have to practice. Before I said anything else, I threw out 3 heavenly eyes, quietly. Feng Li, rank 31, 1-star war spirit. Judgment, vastly different. Your strength is far inferior. You are not capable of fighting them. Jiang Yue, rank 26, 6-star Great Master. Earth rank middle grade cultivation. 3 Earth rank middle grade martial skills. A movement art, and a finishing move. The human character technique of the 3 swords. Purple cloud shattering ring. A finishing move, like mine. I've seen what a finishing move does to 100 wolves. I nearly stood up and left the room. Judgment, vastly different. Far inferior. Han Guang, rank 35, 5-star war spirit. 4 Earth rank techniques. A movement art. A sword. Assessment, extremely powerful. Your strength is far inferior, making resistance impossible. 3 walking bosses in my father's living room. Every single one of them stronger than everyone in this hall combined, including my father. Thank God I didn't do anything stupid. And that's when the real anger started, because I finally understood the shape of the thing. They didn't come to negotiate. They came because they knew nobody here could stop them. Zhao put a small green bottle on the table. The sect leader said that if the Lin family agrees, he'll give you a Qingyun pill. The hall made a sound. Qingyun pill, once in a lifetime. Chance to restore a broken spiritual vein and give a cripple the ability to cultivate. Accelerates anyone already on the path. Can jump you 1 to 5 stars below Great Master. No side effects. They'd brought the exact medicine designed to fix exactly my condition and offered it as the price for my dignity. 10 hours earlier, that pill would have been the greatest gift anyone had ever offered me. My father glanced at it once, then away. Zhao's smile flickered. He'd expected that pill to end the conversation. So he gritted his teeth and pulled out a sword. Bright white, beautiful, snow white, earth rank, low grade. If Clan Chief Lin accepts, this belongs to your family. And now the haul really went up, because a pill only helps one person, but an earth rank weapon makes whoever holds it dangerous forever. Every elder in that room started breathing through their mouth. They wanted it. You could see them wanting it, and every one of them knew the decision wasn't theirs. My father looked at the sword the way you look at a menu in a restaurant you've already decided to leave. That's when Han Guang got bored of watching. Clan Chief Lin. This annulment was personally ordered by our sect leader. I suggest your Lin family be sensible. The Purple Cloud sect is not something you can afford to offend. Oh, my father turned his head. And who are you? Han Guang, chief disciple of the 12 inner peaks of the Purple Cloud sect. What a formidable inner sect disciple. If I heard correctly, you were just threatening my family. He knew that boy could kill him. Everyone in the room knew it. He said it anyway, in that same flat voice, and I have never been prouder of a man in my life. Han Guang laughed and turned to me instead. This is Lin Jie, the one engaged to junior sister Yue? A useless cripple who knows he isn't worthy and clings on anyway. What kind of logic is that? A toad trying to eat swan meat. Senior brother Guang, don't be rude. That was Yue, sharp, immediate. Not for me, understand that clearly. She snapped at him because if word got out that the Purple Cloud sect strong-armed a small clan, it would embarrass her, and her sect, and her name. She wasn't defending me, she was managing optics. Then she turned to my father with a sweet smile and apologized for her senior brother, and my father cut her off. How could I dare associate with a genius of the Purple Cloud sect? Since you're the sect leader's disciple, calling me uncle is something I cannot accept. Call me Clan Chief Lin, or just Wang Tao. One sentence, 2 generations of friendship severed in a room full of witnesses. Jiang Yue's face finally changed. She hadn't expected that. She'd expected the small clan to bow. And then she looked at me coldly, and I could read the thought going through her head as clearly as if it were printed on her forehead. This is all your fault. If I hadn't been engaged to you, none of this would be happening. Sure, my fault. I got engaged to you at the age of 2 while unconscious. My father started to speak, something careful, something about how his son cannot cultivate and truly isn't worthy. No, I said, I won't call off this marriage. The hall detonated. Lin Jie, you have no right to speak. Whether it's returned isn't up to you. You don't even know if you're good enough for her. Every single one of them. My own family, screaming at me to give up my own engagement because they wanted the sword. Why should I shut up? It's my marriage. Does the person involved not get a say? You brat, this isn't just your business, it's the Lin family's business. It's my marriage, not yours, not the 7th Elder's. What right do you have to speak? You want to interfere with another man's wife? If this were happening to you, should I come interfere with yours? The 7th Elder's lips went white, and he couldn't answer, and Zhao Ming stood there pointing at me with nothing coming out. Then Jiang Yue decided to be reasonable at me. Why won't you back out? And she gave a speech. I'll spare you most of it. The highlights were, my master ordered this. If we fail, they'll send someone worse who won't bring gifts. I'm being generous by reasoning with you. And boy, my favorite, you have the self-awareness to know the gap between us. You are a useless person who cannot cultivate. I am already a 6-star great master. There is no possibility between us. Best to part amicably. And that's when I stopped being angry at the Purple Cloud sect. A 6-star Great Master. Amazing. So tell me, Miss Duan, what kind of person do you think is worthy of you? She actually thought about it. She lowered her head and gave it real consideration, and then she said, at least someone stronger than me, and with status and identity similar to mine. There it is. That's not a sect order. That's not a master's instruction. That's a woman who looked at a boy she'd been promised to, decided he was beneath her, and used the biggest sect in the north as a delivery service for a breakup she'd already decided on. She could have said anything else. She could have said, my master ordered it, and I'm sorry. Instead, she gave me her personal shopping criteria. Where I'm from, we have a phrase for this, a woman who'd rather cry in a nice car than laugh on a bicycle. What a waste of a beautiful face. I glanced at Anlan, sitting next to me, who had made 2 clans and an outside sect sit and wait an hour for a boy everyone called garbage. Yeah, no comparison. Fine, I said. I agree, but I have one condition. Yue's face lit up. What condition? 6 months. In 6 months, I'll come to the Purple Cloud sect myself and we'll have a contest. If I lose, we annul the engagement, and I'll announce in front of everyone that Lin Jie wasn't worthy of Jiang Yue. That way, nobody can say you used your sect to bully a small clan. But if you lose, fine. She didn't even let me finish. If I lose, I'll agree to whatever conditions you want. She said it instantly. Instantly. Like someone accepting a bet that a rock won't float. In her head, I was a cripple. Even if the pill fixed me tomorrow, half a year is nothing. She'd be a 7-star Great Master by then, with a sect's resources behind her. She thought I was buying myself a graceful exit. A way to save face in front of my father. The hall thought so too. They were laughing. Has Lin Jie gone mad? He wants to compete with Jiang Yue? I thought he was being tough. He just agreed in a fancier way. Trash is trash. Even Great Master Zhao relaxed, because to him this was the Lin family finding a polite door to leave through. And my father, who had been sitting there like a stone for 10 minutes, smiled, because he'd been in a tree last night. This is my son's marriage, he said. Everything is up to him to decide. Then it's settled, said Yue. Signatures. If I win, I tear up this engagement in front of everyone, and the Lin family never mentions it again. I'll find you at the Purple Cloud sect in 6 months. Then I threw my ruined robe over my shoulder and walked out of my clan's main hall. Ding! Main quest received. In 6 months, go to the Purple Cloud sect and defeat Jiang Yue in public. Oh, it's a quest now. Behind me, my father dismissed the guests and threw both treasures back into Zhao's hands, and the entire assembled leadership of the Lin family watched a fortune walk out the door because of me. I'd like to say I felt nothing. The truth is, I was furious. Not because I wanted her, I'd known she existed for 11 minutes, and I already couldn't stand her. Because someone walked into my house and took something from me in front of everyone, and I couldn't stop them. That's a specific kind of anger. It doesn't fade, it compounds. Let me tell you why I asked for 6 months, since it's the only genuinely clever thing I did that day. I didn't need 6 months to beat Jiang Yue. With the system, I could have done it in a month. 2 weeks if I skipped sleeping, which, historically, I do. But beating her isn't the point. If I show up and win, do you think the Purple Cloud sect just collapse? 10,000 outer disciples, inner sect elders who could level this city. Easy to walk in, very hard to walk out. I don't want to win a duel. I want to walk into their mountain, take her apart in front of all of them, and leave whenever I feel like it. For that, I need to be so far past them that nobody in that sect is willing to be the one who tries. 6 months. Fine. The Purple Cloud sect gets 6 months. Anlan caught up with me at my door. Brother Lin Jie, are you all right? I'm fine. What could possibly happen to me? Which was a lie, and she knew it was a lie, and she let me have it anyway. It's good that you're all right, but remember, no matter what happens, you still have Lanner. I have been alive twice, and nobody has ever said anything to me that landed like that. Yeah, I said when I could. My Lanner is the best. That Jiang Yue isn't worth 1/10,000th of you. She wants to break it off. I wouldn't have taken her anyway. She went red and looked at the floor and asked if I could really beat Yue. Don't worry, your brother will beat her into a pulp. Then keep it up, brother Lin Jie. Lan will always support you. And she raised 2 small fists. I would like the record to show that I nearly proposed on the spot. Then somebody started yelling in my courtyard. Lin Jie, you come out here. You bastard, come out. Xiaoming. Of course. He'd walked out of that hall, watched Anlan follow me home, watched me humiliate his grandfather with a chair, and something in him finally snapped. He'd brought a crowd, a good 20 Lin family disciples, all of them there to watch me get taken apart. I cracked my knuckles and went out. Great. I'm in the middle of a fight I need to figure out, and you come knocking on my door. You disrespectful brat. You've brought shame on the Lin family. How dare you show your face? Why wouldn't I dare? What are you? He walked straight into it. I am nothing. I am Xiaoming, 7th young master of the Lin family. Oh, so you're not a thing after all. I want you to know I have never in my life had a setup line delivered to me that cleanly. I nearly thanked him. His face went through several colors. Then one of the crowd stepped up. Big kid, big fists. 5th young master, don't waste your breath on trash. Let me teach him a lesson. Yang Fan, 8-star War Apprentice, top tier among the juniors here, genuinely. Ming nodded him forward. And here's the part worth noticing. Ming didn't expect Fan to win. He'd sent Ding Lei, a 9-star, to kill me last night. Lei was missing. I was standing here. He'd already done that math. He sent Fan in as a probe to measure me with someone else's body. Lan, stand behind me. Oh, and she did it immediately, like she'd been doing it for years, and stood there staring at my back. I found out much later she developed a specific fondness for the view, which I find hilarious and will never let her live down. Why are you dragging your feet? Ming snapped. Beat him to death. Fan came in fast. I didn't move. Humph, you piece of trash. So arrogant with the clan chief behind you. Why aren't you moving now? Scared stiff? Yang Fan, I think you're the one making a name for himself. A mere 8-star war apprentice. You're an extra in a crowd scene. Who let you get ideas? He didn't understand half of that, but he understood the tone. He threw a punch with 30% of his strength, 6-star force, casual, meant to knock me down without killing me. I caught it, just reached out and closed my hand around his fist. He pulled. Nothing happened. He might as well have been pulling on a mountain. Nobody watching could tell. From outside, it just looked like 2 guys standing there, so the crowd started heckling him. What's wrong, Fan? Didn't eat breakfast? Are you 2 shaking hands? Hit him! Which was, from Fan's perspective, the worst moment of his life. He couldn't say I can't beat him. Who would believe that? He'd be laughed out of the family. He spread his left hand and slammed a full-strength palm at my head. Everything he had. A blow that would have hospitalized a normal war apprentice. I pinched it out of the air with 2 fingers. The palm wind just stopped. His face, at that moment, was the first genuinely great face of my new life. I've collected many since. That one's still in my top 10. He knew, right then. Not he's stronger than expected. He's above me and I am a child here. I kicked him and he went 8 meters and lost consciousness on the way. I didn't kill him. Daylight. Big crowd. Elders around. There's a difference between killing a man in a forest and executing one in a courtyard, and I intended to keep that difference intact for as long as it was useful. The crowd, having seen nothing, decided the problem was Fan. An 8-star? Hype. If that's an 8-star, I'm the god of war. Then 5 of them stepped out at once. Guo Bin, Fang Wei, Shu Lin, 9-star war apprentices. Wu Jian and Zheng Rui, 8 stars. The weakest of them was an 8-star. Together they could pressure an actual war master, facing, as far as they knew, a cripple. Lin Jie, I hate that arrogant attitude of yours most. Kneel and beg, let the brothers give you a beating, or what? Or I'll break your legs. Make it so you can't take care of yourself. He hadn't actually thought that far ahead. I watched him invent the threat mid-sentence. Fine, come break them. I'm waiting. They came in grinning. Bang, 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 bang. 5 of them off their feet in one exchange. Not one landed a hand on me. I want to point out that this wasn't skill. I had 1 day of combat experience and the technique of a drunk. It was raw numbers. 5-star War Master, plus every strength and agility pill I'd swallowed in that forest, versus 5 War Apprentices. It's not a fight, it's a physics demonstration. Then I walked over to Guo Bin, who was groaning on the ground, and stepped on his foot. The bones went. Then the other one. He'd offered to cripple my legs about 40 seconds earlier. I believe in prompt service. The other 4 lay there making noises. The crowd went backward several steps all at once. Who else? Nobody. 20 Lin family disciples staring at me like I'd grown a second head. And Xiao Ming, who hadn't moved, said quietly, "Waste." He wasn't talking to me. He was talking about them. Lin Jie, you've been hiding your strength well. If I'm not mistaken, you've reached War Master. No wonder Lin Rui and Ding Lei both failed. He said both names, out loud, in front of everyone, which was him telling me that he knew that I knew. How could my meager strength compare to the 5th young masters? I'm just trash. Since you're a War Master, my involvement isn't bullying. So, do you dare to fight me? What is there to be afraid of? Then let's go to the martial arts stage and sign a death waiver. Do you dare? The courtyard went quiet. The martial arts stage is where this family settles disputes. That's normal. Sign a death waiver, and it stops being a dispute. Whoever dies, dies, and nobody can seek revenge for it. Family members almost never sign it, because family members are supposed to still be family afterward. Ming proposed it immediately, and the crowd loved it. These are people who had been scared backwards by me 30 seconds earlier, and now that someone else was volunteering to handle it, they were suddenly full of courage. Lin Jie, say something. You were so smug just now. Scared of the stage? Trash is trash, won't even accept the 5th young master's challenge. I looked at Ming properly. 6-star War Master. I was 5-star, with Earth-ranked techniques and a strange fire and a finisher. Assessment. Slightly threatening. Yeah, let's fight. What is there to be afraid of? He turned and walked ahead of me, delighted, and as he turned, I caught the thing he did with his right hand. It went into his robe, and whatever it touched in there, it made him stand up straighter. He was very happy about something in his pocket. I noted that, and I filed it, and I want you to remember it too, because in about 20 minutes, it's going to try to kill me. Brother Lin Jie. Anlan was worried. He's a 6-star, and I heard he's learned 2 yellow rank techniques. Don't worry, Laner, just a 6-star. Watch me beat him into a pulp. Okay, then be careful. Laner is cheering for you, and she raised the 2 little fists again. We walked to the martial arts stage laughing, on the way to a fight where one of us was contractually required to die. That's the thing about this world. It'll hand you a girl worth protecting and a death match on the same afternoon and expect you to keep the two straight. Behind the mountain at the back of the Lin compound, there's a quiet courtyard nobody's allowed into. That's where the family keeps its treasure. Lin Jie, the greatest genius the Lin family has produced in 100 years. 18 years old and already a 2-star great master, which puts him behind only the elders and the clan chief. They gave him the best resources, the best techniques, and a private courtyard so nobody would disturb his cultivation. A girl came to fetch him that day. Li Xiao, Xiao Ming's little sister. Brother Jie, come quickly. What's the hurry? My brother's going to duel Lin Jie at the martial arts stage. Hurry, or we'll miss it. Jie frowned. He didn't like Xiao Ming. He thought Ming was treacherous, scheming, and a bad end for anyone who touched him, and that a man who spends his life plotting will never go far in martial arts, which, as character judgments go, was flawless. Lin Jie can't cultivate. Xiao Ming is a war master. I think Ming is getting worse with age. What do you know, shut in that courtyard all day? Lin Jie can cultivate now. They say he's reached war master. My brother finally found a worthy opponent. Oh? And something in Jie sharpened. Lin Jie couldn't cultivate as a child. I used to laugh at him, and now he's a war master? That's quite a surprise. He put down his training and came. He came for the same reason every genius comes to watch a fight. He wanted to see whether there was anyone in this family worth measuring himself against. He was about to find out. Just not the way he expected, and not from the person he was watching. The stage was packed by the time we got there. Word travels fast when there's a death waiver involved. The whole younger generation had turned out, plus the elders, plus my father, plus every servant who could find an excuse. If the 5th young master fights Lin Jie, who wins? 5th young master, obviously. 6-star with several powerful techniques. Lin Jie reaching war master doesn't change anything. How the world turns. Lin Jie used to be a complete waste, and now he's a war master. Did you bully him before? Is that why you're nervous? They signed a death waiver. Why should I be afraid of him? It's not certain he'll walk off that stage. Charming group. We signed, both of us, in front of witnesses. Whatever happens on this stage, happens. He came up with a yellow rank sword in his hand. Lin Jie, you're not going to fight me bare-handed, are you? For you, bare hands are enough. Enough talk. He came in fast and went for my head. I tilted out of it and hit him with a plain basic fist technique. Starry palm. Our attacks met and both of us went backwards. Me 5 steps, him 2. The crowd read that exactly the way you'd expect. Ming stronger, obviously. Lin Jie rushed to War Master with no foundation. Lin Jie's in trouble. But down in the crowd, Lin Jie went very still. Sister Lin, you've misread it. Lin Jie isn't mediocre. He's terrifying. What? My brother knocked him back 5 steps and only moved 2. Lin Jie threw a normal punch. Your brother used a yellow rank high-grade martial skill. He used a technique, moved Lin Jie 5 steps, and still got pushed back 2 himself. Who won that exchange? Li Xiao refused to hear it because it was her brother, and she snorted and turned away. But Jie's eyes had changed. He'd seen it in one exchange. Everyone else in that crowd, including all the elders, had watched the same thing and read it backwards. That's what a real genius looks like. Not the technique, the eyes. We went again. And I'll be honest with you, his swordplay was good. Genuinely good. Airtight, no openings, clearly the product of years of daily practice. If he'd had an actual sword technique to go with it, he could have killed me right there. He didn't. He had 2 fist and palm arts, and a sword he was merely excellent with. So I closed the distance, because long swords are bad up close, and every time he tried to reset, I put a fist in the gap. He threw the sword away and went bare-handed with me, and for about 30 seconds we just brawled, and it was actually fun. Then his knuckles started going numb, because I had 200 stat pills in my bloodstream and he had breakfast. He backed off, fainted at my face, stepped back. 3-sound fist, boom boom boom, 3 punches, stacking. Each one louder than the last, each one glowing. I met it with a basic punch, because I'd traded with his starry palm just fine, and I assumed his other yellow rank art would be similar. That was stupid, and it cost me. The 3-sound fist wasn't similar. It was 3 impacts layered into one, and it split my hand open at the web of the thumb and threw me backwards with blood in my mouth that I had to physically swallow to keep from spitting. I got up with my right hand screaming, lesson, and I want to be honest about it because it nearly ended me later. I had power. I had no experience. Every fight I'd had was against animals in a forest. Animals don't faint. Animals don't have 2 techniques and pick the wrong one for you to expect. That's the gap that kills people like me. All stats, no reps. I made a note to find someone to spar with. I never did because the world kept trying to kill me instead, which is a form of practice. So what? Ming was gloating now. You think you can fight me? So you reached War Master. You still lost. 5th young master, the crowd screamed. Did I lose? I said. Xiao Ming, you forced this. Don't blame me. And I dropped into the opening stance of Mountain Collapse. Down in the crowd, Lin Jie's face went white. Impossible. That's an advanced martial skill. What? That weird pose? Sister Lin, from the aura, that has to be profound rank, middle grade at minimum, possibly higher. Did the clan chief teach him the family's amber 9 palms in secret? No. The information's wrong for that, he was babbling. The clan's #1 genius, standing in a crowd trying to make the pieces fit, understand what he was reaching for. In the Lin family, disciples below Great Master aren't permitted to cultivate profound rank techniques at all. It takes a year minimum, sometimes a lifetime, and the time is better spent on rank. Even the elders only have profound rank, low grade. Jie's ceiling for what I could possibly be holding was profound rank, high grade. He was 3 whole tiers low. Mountain collapse is earth rank. Li Xiao screamed at her brother, "Be careful, he's using a profound rank technique." And Ming believed it instantly, because he'd just watched me stop caring about his best move. He also decided, in that same instant, that the clan chief had been secretly training me this whole time, which meant everyone had been lying to him for years, which meant he'd been made a fool of. Nobody tells you that half the villains in this world are built out of a wrong conclusion they never checked. Mountain collapse. I went up and came down, left hand bracing my right bicep, elbow first, all of my weight and every pill I'd eaten behind it. He was ready. He'd been ready since the stance. He threw himself backwards, so my elbow hit the stage instead. The stage is marble, solid marble, laid for exactly this purpose. It cracked like a windshield. A spiderweb 3 meters across, dust and gravel going up in a column, and a shockwave that rolled out from the point of impact and picked Xiaoming up off his feet and threw him to the edge of the platform. He wasn't hit. That's the part I want to stress. He dodged it clean. The wave alone put him down, spitting blood, screaming, unable to stand. The stage went absolutely silent. Every person there was asking the same question. What technique cracks marble and cripples a man who dodged it? I walked over to him. I told you not to force me. You wouldn't listen. His face was covered in blood, and he was staring up at me, and he was terrified. What are you doing? You can't kill me. Can't kill you? Xiaoming, I don't think you understand your situation. There are hundreds of people watching. If you kill me, my grandfather won't let you go. The elders won't let you go. And here's the thing. He was right, and I hesitated. That's the truth. I had a quest telling me to kill this man and a plan to make it look like an accident, and he'd ruined the plan by dodging. And now killing him meant doing it in cold blood in front of the entire clan with my father sitting right there. I hesitated for about 2 seconds, and in those 2 seconds his hand went back into his robe. Silver needle, an inch long, delicate, and the tip was bright green, the specific green that means somebody spent money on you. His movements were small and careful, and nobody in that crowd saw them, except one person, because one person had never once taken her eyes off that stage. "Brother Lin Jie, be careful!" Too slow, way too slow. She was shouting it while the needle was already in the air. "You think you can beat me? Die." 2 meters, poison needle, straight at my face. If it lands, I'm dead. Either it punches through my skull or the poison does it slower. And I want to be fair to him. It was a good plan. It was a genuinely good plan. He'd carried that thing into a duel he'd proposed, with a death waiver he'd insisted on, which means he'd walked up those steps intending to use it. In his mind, the light of victory was already shining on him. He was watching his masterpiece complete itself. But Anlan shouted, and I moved. Phantom step. 4 of me. The needle went through my hair and took a strand off, and I felt it go past my ear. I stopped half a step back and watched a single black hair drift to the floor. That's how close it was. Then I looked at him. He's not dead, no. And he was going to be very sorry about that. He got up on his knees, actual knees, head to the boards, thump, 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 in front of the entire clan. "Lin Jie, spare me! I've lost! I won't do it again! Spare me, and we'll settle all our past grievances!" The crowd's contempt for him at that moment was a physical thing you could feel. He'd signed a death waiver, ambushed a man on the stage, and now he was kowtowing. "Xiaoming, since you tried to ambush and kill me on the stage, I don't need to hold back anymore. Go see the King of Hell." I flipped my hand and the blade of Gale appeared in it. "No, no, don't!" "Die." "Spare him!" "No!" "Lin Jie, you dare kill my brother!" Several voices from the crowd, all far too late. Thud. His head came off, went up, and his body took a moment to notice before it folded. Ding! Killed 6-star War Master, 10,000 experience, 10 War God value. Ding! Obtained 5 power pills. Ding! Rank increased, 6-star War Master. Ding! Mission complete, 30,000 experience, 30 War God value. Ding! Obtained Earth rank low-grade martial skill, Heavenly Star Palm. Ding! Rank increased, 7-star War Master. Rank increased, 8-star. Rank increased, 9-star War Master. I stood on that stage with a headless body at my feet and went up 4 ranks in about 6 seconds. A full night of slaughtering monsters had taken me from 1-star to 5-star. One completed quest gave me 4 more instantly. Quests. Not grinding. Quests are where the money is. Remember that because it explains everything I did for the next 6 months. I was 1 step from Great Master. Lin Jie, how dare you kill my grandson? You deserve to die. The seventh elder came off the viewing platform without touching the stairs. 2-star Great Master, 5 fingers out like hooks, coming for my throat, and no pretense at all about the death waiver he'd been so happy to allow. I'd been a War Master for 1 day, and I was standing in the pressure of a Great Master's aura. And I'll tell you honestly, it was like standing in surf. Phantom step. 4 blurs. His claw went through empty air, and I was 6 meters away, and the shock on his face was worth the fright. He turned to go again, and my father landed between us. Uncle Wei, this was a contest between juniors. They signed a life and death agreement. If one dies, nobody is to blame. Isn't it excessive for you to interfere? I don't care about squabbles between juniors. Lin Jie killed my grandson. My line continues through Ming. How am I supposed to explain this to his parents, to my ancestors? Have you considered, if my son had lost, who'd be dead right now? And would I be permitted to come down and take revenge on your grandson? Or on you? What's the point of the stage then? What's the point of the waiver? He stood in front of me like a wall, a 5-star Great Master, standing in front of a 2-star Great Master, on the losing end of every possible calculation, and completely immovable. It seems the clan chief intends to protect Lin Jie to the end. My Ming died for nothing? If my son were at fault, I would follow clan law and not protect him. Lin Jie did nothing wrong. Xiao Ming was less skilled and died on the stage. How is that dying for nothing? Then Li Xiao came up, face wet, and pointed at me. A life for a life. Lin Jie, do you dare fight me? Sign the waiver. I'll fight you to the death. 4-star War Master, weaker than her brother. She knew exactly what would happen and she came anyway, which, credit where it's due. You're no match for me. I won't fight you. I checked. Heavenly Eye said what I already knew. And here's where I'll defend myself since I've been fairly casual about corpses so far. I kill people who come to kill me. I killed Rui for kicking down my door. I killed Lei's squad because they were hunting me. I killed Ming because he arranged 3 separate attempts on my life and then poisoned a needle. I don't kill grieving sisters who can't fight. Not because I'm noble, because if I start doing that, the difference between me and the thing I'm hunting goes away, and I'd rather stay a person than become a wild animal with a level bar. Also, she was worth almost no experience, which, fine, was part of it. Coward, I'll kill you. She drew and charged, and someone stepped in front of her. Sigh, Sister Lin, you're no match for him. Let me take your place. Lin Jie. He'd walked up onto the stage without anyone noticing, which tells you something all by itself. Lin Jie, she isn't qualified to be your opponent. What about me? Am I qualified? The crowd made a noise like a held breath released. That's Lin Jie, the #1 genius? He was in seclusion behind the mountain. Why is he out? Lin Jie could kill Ming. He is absolutely no match for Jie. If I were Lin Jie, I'd refuse. What's the difference between that and suicide? He can't refuse. He killed Ming. The 7th Elder's faction will never let him go. But why is Jie standing up for the 7th Elder's line? Didn't you see the beautiful woman next to him? That's Ming's sister. Ah, there it is. Lin Jie, greatest genius in a century, who genuinely dislikes Xiao Ming and thought he deserved whatever he got, was standing on this stage because he was in love with the man's sister. An Lan ran up beside me and whispered fast, Brother Lin Jie, that's the Grand Elder's line. Lin Jie, they say he's already broken through to Great Master. Lin Jie, what's wrong? Scared? The 7th Elder, back on his feet, ignoring my father entirely. If you're scared, cripple your own cultivation and get out of the Lin family. I might spare your life. And my father, without turning around, said, Son, if there's no chance of winning, we won't force it. Your father will back you either way. I have had 2 fathers in 2 worlds, and only one of them ever said anything like that to me. Father, no need. I'm confident. I'd checked. Lin Jie, 1-star Great Master. Me, 9-star War Master. He was a full realm above me, and that gap is supposed to be uncrossable. But I had 3 Earth rank techniques against his profound rank. A movement art he couldn't follow, a body full of permanent pills, and a finisher that erases hundreds of things at once. Could I beat him right now? Probably, but probably is a bad word when the waiver's already signed. Lin Jie, since you're challenging me for Xiao Ming's sake, how can I refuse? 3 days. In 3 days we settle it on this stage, and we find out who the #1 genius of the Lin family really is. Then I'll be waiting. And he actually smiled when he said it. He was excited. He'd found someone worth fighting, and that mattered more to him than the outcome. I want to be fair to Lin Jie. He was the only person in that entire compound who reacted to me becoming strong with joy instead of fear or greed. He was also about to lose in the most humiliating way available, and he'd been kind to me, so I felt a little bad about it. A little. Why 3 days? Because I have a system, and asking for 3 days is the single most profitable sentence in my vocabulary. Why fight tooth and nail at my current strength when I can go into a forest, come back a different animal, and step on the #1 genius in front of an audience? Everyone else in that courtyard heard me buy time out of fear. What I'd actually done was schedule a grind session. Everyone left. The stage emptied out, and the crowd went off to argue about the fight and place bets on the next one. 3 people stayed. Son. Are you certain? Jie is the greatest talent this family has produced in 100 years. Don't worry, father. Absolutely certain. He looked at me for a long moment. He didn't ask what technique I'd used. He didn't ask where I'd been all night. He didn't ask how a boy who couldn't cultivate had gone to 9-star War Master in a day. What martial artist doesn't have secrets? He just patted my shoulder, glanced at Anlan, winked at me, winked, this man, in front of a bloodstain, and left, subtle as a brick. La'er. Thank you. She looked up, surprised. Why thank me? Lanar's heart already belongs to brother Lin Jie. Everything I do for you is only right. Ding! Favorability +5. Current 80. Anlan is completely devoted to you. I patted her head and called her a silly girl and did not say the rest of it, which was, without you, I'd be a corpse with a needle in my eye, and everything that comes after this happens because a girl who owed me nothing refused to look away from a stage. There's a thing I hadn't figured out yet. Anlan is not from the Lin family. Everyone in that hall knew it. That's why she sits with the elders and no one blinks. That's why my father told me to work harder or give up. I didn't know what she was. I knew it was above me. So I filed that too, right next to the Purple Cloud sect and the 7th Elder and the Ouyang family in the growing folder marked Things I Will Fix with Sufficient Levels. That night I went back to Wind Moon Forest, not the Outer Ring this time, deeper, level 2s and whatever else I could find. Because in 3 days, a man was going to try to kill me on a marble stage in front of everyone I'd ever known. And there was a very simple solution to that problem. Get so much stronger that it stops being a fight and starts being a demonstration. Ask me again in 72 hours whether 3 days was enough. 3 days. That's what I'd bought myself, and I intended to spend every hour of it. Last time I'd played in the shallow end, level 1s, a couple of 2s, one boss I nearly died to because I stopped to read my own loot screen. This time I skipped the Outer Ring entirely. Heavenly Eye leading, Phantom Step carrying, straight through the kiddie pool and into the level 2 belt. First thing I met was an iron-hide rhinoceros, 3 meters tall, skin like plate armor, a horn out front designed by evolution specifically to remove your spine. Level 2 Yao Beast and Level 2 beasts match human War Masters, and defensive beasts like this one are worse than that. It saw me at the same moment I saw it, snorted, lowered the horn, came. Da da da. The ground shook. You don't meet a charging rhinoceros head-on. That's not courage, that's paperwork for someone else. Phantom Step, twist right, 4 blurs. The horn went past my ribs close enough to move my hair, and because it had committed everything to the charge, it couldn't turn. So I put a basic punch into its flank as it went by. Boom, 8 meters sideways, landed hard, and got up, bruised, scuffed, annoyed, fundamentally undamaged. That's when I learned what a defense stat actually does to your evening. Anything else at that tier would have died from the fall alone. This thing shook it off like a bad review. So I hit it with Heavenly Star Palm, the Earth Rank Palm technique I'd taken off Xiaoming's corpse, and it buckled and did not die. Hit it again in the same spot, and it went lower and did not die. Hit it a third time, and it finally coughed up blood and stopped. Ding, killed Ironhide Rhinoceros, 3,000 experience. 3,000. I did some math I didn't enjoy. Advancing to Great Master needs 100,000 experience. Ironhide gives 3,000 after a real fight. Other level 2s give 1 or 2,000. The weak ones give a few hundred. That's 30 plus of these things per level. I could kill maybe 30 in a day if I skipped resting, which meant 3 levels in 3 days. 3 levels in 72 hours, which, incidentally, would be considered miraculous by literally every cultivator alive, and which I found personally insulting. That's the thing nobody warns you about when they hand you a cheat. You don't get satisfied. You get impatient. Your baseline moves. A week ago, I couldn't cultivate at all, and now I was standing over a dead armored rhinoceros feeling underserved. I walked around the next one I saw, just went the long way. Not proud of it, not sorry either. But what you avoid finds you. 10 minutes later, another Ironhide came out of the trees at full speed, and there was no going around it. Why? Another enormous fight for another 3,000 points. I sat down on its corpse afterward and thought about it properly. Deeper wasn't the answer. Level 3 is Great Master tier. Level 4 is War Spirit tier. Going down there at my rank isn't ambition, it's donation. So the problem wasn't the beasts. The problem was throughput. And that's when I remembered I wasn't a cultivator. I was a gamer with a martial arts costume on. I opened the panel. Rank 19, 9-star War Master. War God value, 40. 40. I'd spent 10 on the wolves. Killing Ming gave 10, the quest gave 30. 40 in the bank, and the finisher cost 10 a shot. Leave 10 in reserve for emergencies, a rule I made right then and broke almost immediately. And I had 3 free casts of an attack that kills everything in a 10 by 10 meter box, 3 area of effect nukes, and a forest absolutely stuffed with monsters that were, right now, spread out politely across several square miles. Any player who's ever played anything already knows where this is going. You don't kill mobs one at a time. You pull. You run through the zone making noise. You gather every hostile in the area into a conga line behind you. You find open ground, and then you delete the whole train at once. It's called aggro training, and in every game I've ever played, it's either the fastest way to level or the fastest way to die, depending entirely on whether your legs are better than their legs. Mine were. Agility pills, phantom step, and a body that had already eaten 300 permanent stat upgrades. The role I needed was the tank. High health, high defense, high speed, drags the whole world behind him and doesn't fall over. I looked at my own stat sheet. Yeah, I could be a tank. Whoosh. I found the first pack 10 minutes in. Gale wolves, a proper crowd of them. A gale wolf king standing in the middle like a statue of itself. I punched a tree. Bang. Every head turned. Aww. The king howled and the whole pack came off the ground at once. And I turned and ran and did not stop. That's pull number 1. Then I went looking for more. And here's where it got funny, and where I'd like to formally apologize to the ecosystem of Wind Moon Forest. I threw rocks at things. That's it. That's the whole technique. Big, powerful monsters, apex predators, creatures that terrify grown adventurers, and I'd sprint past them, bounce a stone off their skull, and keep running. They lose their minds. Every single time. They weren't smart enough to understand what I was doing, but they were smart enough to understand a human had just thrown a rock at them in their own house. And I kept doing it, all the way. Every few hundred meters, another rock, another furious roar, another set of claws joining the parade. Somewhere behind me, I'd assembled a mob of level 1s, level 2s, a couple of elites that qualified as mini-bosses, and one level 3 that I really should not have provoked. Where I'm from, we had a game with a little hero everyone despised. Small, cheerful, and built entirely around making you angry. There's a saying about him, you can lose the game, but he must die. I'd become that, in a fantasy world, with actual monsters. The Yao beasts of Wind Moon Forest had unanimously decided that I was the one thing in creation that had to be removed, and they were willing to set aside their differences about it. It wasn't free. As the tail got longer, the pressure got real. Things ambushed me from the sides. Something raked my back. Twice I ran straight into a beast coming the other way, and only lived because Phantom Step let me be somewhere else for half a second. If I'd been a normal martial artist, I'd have died 4 separate times in that run. Then again, no normal martial artist would ever, under any circumstances, do this. It's suicide. It's suicide with extra steps and a running start, which is exactly why it works. Nobody's built a defense against the strategy of make every monster in the forest personally hate you. I glanced back and made a rough count. Over 1,000, countless level 1s, hundreds of 2s, dozens of 3s, several elites, an actual army, and it was following me, and every single one of them wanted my head specifically. I found a clearing and stopped. I want you to picture it. One skinny 16-year-old standing in an open patch of dirt and a wall of teeth coming out of the tree line like a landslide, and me smiling. Not a good smile, the smile of a man looking at a full inventory. I waited until they filled the box. Jump, slam, mountain collapse, earth split, slash. The world came apart. Heat first, then the sound. The ground split in a 10 by 10 grid and magma came up through it. And the flames didn't spread outward so much as stand up. The whole clearing became a furnace with a lid on it. The first rank never made it 3 steps. The second rank cooked. Trees went down and then went to ash while they were still falling. The notifications came in like rain on a tin roof. Ding, 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 ding. 50, 50, 10,000. That was a wolf king. 3,000 in Ironhide. 30,000. 30,000. Killed level 3 Yao Beast, Silver-Horned Rhinoceros, 30,000 experience. I'd pulled a level 3 in and hadn't even known which one it was. Then, 500 kill streak, 10 strength, 10 agility, 10 physique, 10 intelligence pills. 1,000 kill streak, same again. 2,000 kill streak, same again. 2,000 kills. Rank increased, level 20, Great Master. Rank increased, 1 star, Great Master. 2 star. 3 star. It didn't stop until 5. I stood in the middle of a black crater with my ears ringing and my level bar still settling. Great Master. That's the tier my father is. That's the tier the 7th Elder is. That's the tier the strongest people in this city are. The ones the whole region calls masters. 5 star. From 1 button in about 40 minutes of throwing rocks. Then I ate every attribute pill I'd just been handed. Several hundred of them, one after another. Like a man eating peanuts. My cells started humming. That's the only way I can describe it. Like a volcano deciding whether to bother. I reached out to test it and flicked a tree with my fingers. Not a punch, a flick. Crack. Tree came down. I stared at my own hand for a while. If this is what a great master body feels like with a few hundred permanent stat points stacked on top, what does the next tier feel like? And the one after that? I genuinely couldn't picture it. That's not modesty. My imagination just didn't reach. Aww. Silver light behind me, moving fast. A Gale Wolf King. One of the ones that had dodged the blast. The finisher's box is only 10 by 10, and I'd pulled 1,000 monsters into a space bigger than that. Plenty survived on the fringes. And this one, seeing me standing still, decided to do exactly what its cousin had done to me 2 nights ago. Went for my neck. 2 nights ago that had opened me from shoulder to back and nearly ended the run. I didn't dodge. I put my hand up as it came past and flicked it in the head. Its skull came apart. Brains, blood, the whole thing, and the body kept traveling and hit a tree. Same species, same attack, same angle. 2 days ago it nearly killed me. Now it was an insect that had flown into my hand. That's what a level bar does to a story. I roared, actually roared, out loud, alone, in a burning forest, which is embarrassing to admit, and went after the survivors, and put Mountain Collapse into the middle of the biggest cluster. The ground came up in a crater, and everything within 30 meters came apart. By the time it was quiet, the clearing was gone. There was blood soaked into the dirt, bone fragments, charcoal, and black smoke going straight up into a windless night. It looked exactly like hell, and I had built it out of rocks and spite. Somewhere else in that forest, 2 groups of people were running. The first was a big bearded man in his 40s, square face, 5-centimeter scar across one eye, and blood on his clothes that hadn't dried yet. He moved like someone who's killed a lot of people and considers it a career rather than a crime. He wasn't panicking, that's what mattered. He was being chased and he wasn't panicking, and he smiled as he ducked into the tree line. Behind him came 6 young martial artists in matching white robes, silver badges on their chests reading 9 cities. Furious, every one of them. What do we do, Captain?
Qin Dong's gone into Wind Moon Forest.
The commander was the only woman among them, Shu Qing. Short black hair, sharp features, the kind of face that says she does the paperwork and the killing. 9-star War Master, which for a mercenary leader is genuinely impressive. Her group had been 10 people that morning. When I took this job, I didn't expect Qin Dong to be this capable, she said. It's my fault. I got Long Xuan and the others killed. 4 dead, 4 of 10. Her people wouldn't hear it. Don't blame yourself, Captain. We chose this road. People die on it. Regiment Leader Guang, go avenge our brothers. But Wind Moon Forest at night is a death sentence, she said. We'd be in the light, and he'd be in the dark. We have no chance. They looked at each other in the trees for a moment. I've decided to go, she said, even if it costs my life. But I want your opinions. If you back out now, I won't hold it against anyone. Life is precious. You may not come back. Not one of them left. Captain, whatever you say, through fire and water. He killed 4 of our brothers. We'll take him with us if we have to. Anyone who runs is a coward. Then we fight to the death, she said. It's him or us. We bring his head back to Tianzhu City. And they went into the forest after him. I want you to hold on to that image because it matters later. 6 people who had every reason to walk away and didn't. It also means they walked directly into the trap. I saw them coming before I heard them properly. My hearing had gotten frankly ridiculous. That's what happens when your stats go up across the board, your ears come along for the ride. I could pick out footsteps through a forest at a distance where a normal person hears wind. Big bearded man in front, 6 white robes behind, all furious. The big ones got killer's eyes. The ones behind have blood-feud faces. Not my problem. And I meant it. I had a schedule. I was going to move to another part of the forest, pull another 1,000 monsters, and press the button again. Whatever this was, it wasn't worth the delay. Which brings us to the actual law of this world, more reliable than gravity. You can decide not to get involved in trouble. Trouble does not have to agree. The bearded man saw me and changed course. Straight at me, fast. Now, from his side, this was a reasonable decision. A boy of 16 or 17, alone in a death forest at night, standing in a burnt-out crater full of corpses. Obviously, the corpses were from some earlier battle between real experts, and the kid had wandered in by mistake. A hostage. That's all I was. Grab the boy, hold him up, buy the 2 or 3 minutes he needed. Because he had friends coming. You'd already sent the signal. They were close. The mercenary saw it happen. Captain, look! Su Qing frowned when she spotted me. Then she saw the crater and the ash and the smell, and her frown got deeper. And then, and I only learned this later, she got a feeling. She said afterward that the boy standing in the ashes gave her a stronger sense of danger than the mass murderer she'd been chasing for 3 days. She had no evidence. Nothing about me looked dangerous. She called it a 6th sense and dismissed it because the alternative made no sense. Then she saw Qin Dong cut toward me and dismissed her own instincts completely because whatever I might be, a notorious killer running at a teenager is a thing you shout about. That man is Qin Dong. A wanted criminal from Tianju City. He has the strength of a great master and he's killed many people. Be careful," which was, genuinely, a kind thing to do. She was too far away to reach me. All she could give me was a warning, and she gave it. It's true what they say. What you don't want comes. I did not move. I did, however, check. Heavenly Eye, 3 times. Quick. Qin Dong, 1-star Great Master. Exactly as advertised. Shu Qing, 9-star War Master. Her 5. All War Masters, 5-star and up. No wonder they dared hunt a Great Master. That's a serious crew. And me, 5-star Great Master, with Earth-ranked techniques, a strange fire, a finisher, and enough stat pills in my blood to make the numbers stop meaning anything. None of these people were a threat. Not one. So I stood there. "Young man, he's a ruthless devil. Get out of the way." Still didn't move. "It's over. This guy's an idiot," said one of the mercenaries. "He's frozen, terrified." Shu Qing tried one last time. "Just hide. Hold out until we get there and we'll save your life." That woman spent her last 30 seconds of running trying to save a stranger. Remember that too. Too late. Qin Dong laughed and reached for me. "Need not," I said. "This guy is really something," Shu Qing said, and gave up on me. Qin Dong's hand closed on empty air, because there were suddenly 4 of me, and then a small twist, and his grab went through a phantom. "What?" He rubbed his eyes. A great master, fast enough to run down mercenaries for 3 days, and a mountain kid had just slipped him. He'd used 30%. That's the thing. He hadn't taken me seriously enough to try. Is that an advanced movement technique? What rank? Profound? Earth? Impossible. How could a teenager? That was Shu Qing, out loud, eyes wide. She came from a proper family background. She'd seen things. Qin Dong was strong, but his education came from gutters, and he genuinely couldn't identify what he'd just failed to catch. She could. She still guessed low. Court death. Second grab. 80% this time. Serious. 4 of me again. Small twist. Nothing. I stopped and looked at him and smiled. I've been told my face at that moment was extremely annoying. I believe it. I was enjoying myself. "Kid, who are you?" Ah, there it is. That's the sound of a killer survival instinct arriving 30 seconds late. Because in a world where strength decides everything, the moment someone's strength stops being measurable, your life expectancy becomes a rumor. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that you shouldn't be causing me trouble. And then he did the thing that impressed me, and that nearly worked. He smiled, warm, apologetic, instant 180. "Young brother, I had no choice. I apologize for the offense. I'm being chased by bad people. You were in my path, and I assumed you were with them. Truly sorry." Perfect delivery. Wounded innocence. If I hadn't had a divine appraisal technique sitting behind my eyes reading "Wanted Criminal, 1-star Great Master," I might have hesitated. That's the whole reason Heavenly Eye is the best thing in my inventory. Not the ranks, the lies it catches. "Qin Dong, what nonsense are you spouting, you devil?" Su Qing arrived, pointing. "Little brother, don't believe him. We're here to arrest him. That's true, but he's the bad one. Young man, don't judge by my face." Qin Dong reached into his pocket. "I'm actually a member of the Wolf Heaven mercenary group. Ask anyone about our reputation." And he pulled out a badge. Gold. Wolf's head. Beautifully made. 4 characters across the top. Wolf Heaven, Qin Dong, and underneath a tiny mung bean-sized mark that I later learned is the Mercenary Guild's authenticity stamp. The badge was real. Su Qing's face went blank. That badge outranked her silver one by several tiers. Wolf Heaven is famous. Wolf Heaven punishes evil and helps the weak. Wolf Heaven is the good guys. This? How about it? Qin Dong, delighted, pointed at them. "Young brother, don't be fooled by that woman's face. She's vicious. She's murdered innocents. Her 9 cities group are aristocratic family dogs, notorious for wickedness. Now they intend to harm me. I hope you'll join me in wiping them out." I want to be honest. He was good. If I had ears and no heavenly eye, I'd have believed him. The mercenaries were shaking with rage and doing nothing, because Qin Dong was strong and I was unknown. And if the 2 of us joined up, none of them leave this forest. "Young man, don't listen to him," Su Qing said. "We don't know how he has that badge, but he is a villain. Our group lost 4 brothers to him." "You say I killed someone, so I killed someone? Where's the evidence?" Qin Dong turned it around instantly. "Miss Guang, you're good-looking, but your heart is vicious. It was clearly my 4 brothers who died at your hands. I'm truly no match for you when it comes to twisting the truth." Her face went scarlet. "Enough," I said. "Whoever's right, it's none of my business. Settle it yourselves. I have no interest." Which was the correct answer, and also a lie. Because the moment Qin Dong decided to grab me, I'd already decided to kill him. That's not a moral position, it's a policy. Anyone who reaches for me gets deleted. But his eyes kept moving, flicking sideways, checking distances. He was stalling. So I stalled with him. I wanted to know what for. Su Qing relaxed slightly, which broke my heart a little. She thought neutral meant she still had a chance. "Fine, since you won't come with me, I won't force you. I, Guo, will deal with these villains myself. Even if I die, they don't leave this forest." He drew a short blade and struck a pose of noble sacrifice. Genuinely, an Oscar performance. "Humph, you damned villain. Even if all of 9 cities dies here today, we'll punish you." "This is going to be good," I said and crossed my arms. They fought, and it was good, honestly. Qin raging dagger technique was fast and vicious, and the 6 of them had a formation. Long swords out, circle around him, use the reach, never let him close, cover whoever falls behind. 6 war masters boxing in a great master. It shouldn't have worked, and it was working. Then he uncorked his signature. A mad dagger pierces the heart. A streak of blood-red light came off the blade at one of them. Kid froze, just locked up. That's how the first 4 died. They'd seen this move before, and it had cost them friends, and the fear was in their bodies now. Su Qing threw herself across it. Flying snow leaves no trace. Clang, the light died. She went back 5 steps and spat blood. Great master techniques are not free to block. She'd taken real damage to save a man who'd frozen. Captain, don't worry about me. Watch Qin. Cao Fan, don't get distracted. I can't save you twice. Watch what she did there. Injured, bleeding, and the very next sentence is a tactical correction so her people don't die. I've met a lot of leaders since. Most of them were worse. Her crew went berserk after that. Guilt is a hell of a stimulant. The pressure on Qin tripled and he started losing. And he wasn't worried at all. I could feel it before I could see it. Something coming through the forest. Fast. Several somethings. Every one of them stronger than the man they were coming to help. Is that Qin accomplice? Ah, so that's the plan. Run into the forest, get chased, bleed them out, wait for friends. Meanwhile, Su Qing's people had no idea. They were fully committed, gritting their teeth, giving everything to finally kill the man who'd murdered their brothers. Someone got a sword into Qin back. A long gash, blood everywhere. 2 more cuts opened his arm and he screamed. Hurry up, he was praying. Hurry or I'll lose my life here. Swish, swish, swish. 5 figures came out of the trees, 4 in identical gray robes, 1 in silver, in the middle, obviously in charge. Every one of them radiating power. They're here! Qin broke the circle and got behind them. Who are you? Su Qing said, and I heard her voice change. She couldn't read any of them, not one. When you can't read anyone in a group of 5, you're already dead. You just haven't been informed. And they were standing in front of Qin. Damn it, they're with him. Her face went gray. She got the whole picture in about 2 seconds, and it was worse than she'd imagined. Qin could have escaped days ago. He was faster than them, and he knew the terrain. Instead, he'd kept them just close enough to follow, and led them here. The chase was the trap. What do we do? And then, for no reason she could explain, she turned and looked at me. Let me tell you about the Wolf Heaven Mercenary Group, because I didn't know any of this at the time, and it changes the flavor of everything. They're the largest mercenary organization in the Western regions. Members everywhere. Tens of thousands including outer ranks. An ordinary aristocratic family is nothing next to them. It takes a monster like the Purple Cloud sect to hold them down. Public reputation. Righteous. Punish evil, help the weak. Spotless. Private structure. 2 halves. The open division, which builds the reputation. And the dark division, which handles everything that can't be done in daylight. Resource disputes. Interest conflicts, side jobs, robbery, murder. Worse, a criminal organization wearing a hero's face, and the face is so good that nobody looks under it. Qin carried a genuine Wolf Heaven badge because he was genuine Wolf Heaven. Dark division. They rank by robe color. White for outer members at War Master level. Gray for outer members at Great Master level. Silver for core members. Great Master peak to War Spirit. Then gold, purple, black, and bro, supposedly Ein multicolored, worn by people with war venerable power who can flatten a mountain by gesturing. 4 gray robes and 1 silver had just arrived, which meant 5 Great Masters, minimum, and their leader was something else. Mo Yi, silver robe, 9-star Great Master, 1 step from War Spirit. I read all of it off Heavenly Eye in about a second and a half, and I frowned because that was the first thing since I woke up in this world that qualified as an actual problem. Mo Yi walked past Qin, looked around the clearing, and looked straight through me. I wasn't radiating anything. To him, I was scenery, a boy who'd wandered in. He looked at Su Qing instead and smiled. Qin, the prey this time was very good. You did well. I'm satisfied. Thank you, Brother Gao. It's my honor. You'll be rewarded. Collect a profound rank high-grade cultivation technique when we're back. Qin nearly wept with joy because his current technique was profound rank low-grade, and the upgrade would double his strength. I want to note the word being used here, prey. A bunch of despicable people, Su Qing said. Curse away, Qin said cheerfully. You won't have the energy soon. And then he delivered the part that broke her. Regiment Leader Guang, perhaps you don't know yet. That job your 9 cities group took? We posted it ourselves. What? Her eyes went enormous. The contract had been sitting in the mercenary guild for 2 months. Good reward, not especially hard. Nobody had taken it. She'd seen the number and not asked why. Surprised? The last few batches of mercenaries had the same face. But don't worry, Regiment Leader Guang. If your men lay down their weapons willingly, I'll leave them whole corpses. Batches, plural. They've been doing this for a while. Post a bounty on your own man. Wait for a crew good enough to be worth taking. Let them chase him into the woods. Close the net. That's not banditry. That's a business model. And Su Qing, a commander who'd already lost 4 people that week, realized she'd walked her remaining 5 into a farm. I watched her face while she processed it. She didn't cry and she didn't scream. She just went very still. And then she said, I can see I'm your target. We'll lay down our weapons and stop resisting. But I have one condition. Release my members and I'll go with you. No, Sister Fang, you can't go with them. Falling into their hands means death. We won't leave. We live and die with you. Thank you, everyone. Her voice cracked. You've always respected me, followed me, called me leader. I've always considered you friends. Meeting friends like you made it all worth it. But their target is me. It has nothing to do with you. Don't lose your lives for me. As long as you're alive, you can rebuild. You have futures. Don't die here with me. Nobody moved. Then one of them looked her in the eye and said, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving either, nor me. I'll live and die with Sister Fang. And she cried. Properly, in front of her enemies, standing in a forest at midnight surrounded by men who intended to sell her. So you're loyal, Qindong said. Sorry, everyone here dies today except Regiment Leader Guang, including me, by the way. He said everyone here, and he meant it. They were Wolf Heaven Dark Division on a job. There are no witnesses in that business. Naive, Mo Yi said, and gestured at a gray robe beside him. Sun Wei, deal with those ants. I want Su Qing alive. Sun Wei stepped out, 2-star Great Master, a clear cut above Qindong. They're coming, Su Qing said, and gripped her sword. Wind soaring palm. He struck from outside their reach. One palm. The air went cold. Help me, everyone. Flying snow leaves no trace. 6 blades converged into one point to meet it. Everything they had, combined, in one place. Bang! All 6 of them went backwards through the air. Swords gone. Everyone coughing blood. 2 of them unconscious on impact. Su Qing, the strongest, only spitting blood and barely upright. 1 palm. That's what a real Great Master does to 6 War Masters who've done everything right. Very well. Leave Su Qing alive. Kill the rest. Yes. Sun Wei walked toward a boy on the ground with his hand up. That palm was going to take the kid's head off like a melon. I'd like to claim a noble motive here. The truth is simpler. Qindong had come at me first. That made this my business. And Mo Ye had just casually included me in a kill order. Also, and I want to be honest, because this is who I became out there were 6 Great Masters standing in a clearing, and each one of them was worth a spectacular amount of experience. They were prey the moment they said the word prey. Call out! I crossed the clearing. Nobody saw me do it. Phantom step at that rank, in a forest, at night. I was standing in front of Sun Wei before his palm finished descending. Heavenly Star Palm! A thin hand came up and met a Great Master's strike. Bang! Sun Wei left the ground backwards, spraying blood in the air, and hit the dirt without any life in him. Silence. Mo Ye stared. Su Qing stared. Everyone in that clearing stared at a skinny 16-year-old standing where their executioner had been. Understand what they'd just seen. A 2-star Great Master, one of the strongest men most of these people had ever met, deleted in one exchange by a boy who'd been standing quietly in the background like furniture. Sun Wei swallowed his last mouthful of blood and died. Ding! Killed 2-star Great Master Sun Wei, 110,000 experience. Ding! Rank increased, 7-star Great Master, 110,000. An Ironhide Rhinoceros gave 3,000 after a serious fight. Killing a person gave 110. I've been so close to leveling that Sun Wei alone pushed me over, and the power came in like a wave and doubled what I had. And I felt it land, the thought I'd been dancing around for 2 days. Monsters are a job. People are a payday. That's the sentence that could have turned me into something ugly. I've thought about it a lot since. What kept me on the right side of it wasn't virtue. It was that the system doesn't care who I kill, and I decided I would. Who are you? Mo Ye's voice had changed, doubt and rage together. My name is Lin Jie, just a passerby. You're the ones who dragged me into this. Qindong came up to his ear and whispered, and I could hear every word because my hearing is absurd. He is a passerby, but he's strange. When I lured the prey here, he was already standing there. I tested him twice. His strength is unfathomable. And Brother Gao, look over there at the beast corpses. This person came to Wind Moon Forest in the middle of the night. Everything about him is wrong. He's not someone to trifle with. Qindong was terrified, genuinely. He'd realized he tried to grab me twice, and if I'd chosen to respond, he'd have died standing. Mo Ye thought for a long time. Then he bowed. Your name is Lin Jie? Perhaps my men offended you. I apologize on their behalf. A 9-star Great Master, bowing to a teenager in front of his own people. He wasn't afraid. He was doing arithmetic. As the saying goes, no friendship without a fight. Young Master Lin isn't one of theirs. Let's consider our conflict over. This is now a matter between Wolf Heaven and 9 cities. I hope young Master Lin won't interfere. Otherwise, what else? I said, wide-eyed, like a child asking about the weather. Otherwise, you're going against the Wolf Heaven mercenary group. That doesn't end well. Oh, that's a big hat. I'm a little scared. I stroked my chin. What if I really do have to intervene? Then there's only one option. A fight. You or us. Behind him, the gray robes started talking. Big talk. They killed Sun Wei. Don't let him get away with it. 5 Great Masters here. Are we afraid of a kid? Since you put it that way, I said, I'm definitely taking charge of this. Shu Qing's eyes came up. She'd written herself off, completely, and a stranger had just volunteered to stand between her people and Wolf Heaven for absolutely no reason. She was also terrified for me, which, honestly, that's the part I remember. Everyone in that clearing was about to die, and the woman was worried about the kid. So you've made your choice. Mo Ye's aura came off him like a weather front. Go, kill him. 4 great masters spread out around me. Qin Dong, 1 star. The Grey Robes, 2 star and up, and one of them a 4. 4 great masters converging with full killing intent. The pressure was physical. An ordinary man would have soiled himself and knelt. I stood there with my hands loose and smiled, and that made one of them absolutely furious. Liu Kai, 4-star great master. Early 20s, which is genuinely impressive, half a genius, real future ahead of him, and a man like that cannot tolerate being looked down on by a kid. He came in ahead of the others. Moonring leg. He launched the kick from 5 meters out and flew the whole distance, leg bent like a crescent, heel wrapped in hazy rainbow light. It cracked the air as it came. Genuinely a beautiful technique. Hee, heavenly star palm. I put less into it than I had against Sun Wei. It was several times stronger anyway, because I'd been a 6-star when I killed Sun Wei, and now I was a 7, and 1 star at that tier is not a step, it's a floor. Bang. His leg folded at 90 degrees in a place legs don't fold. It swung in the breeze like a piece of rope. He landed, sat up, spat blood, and shouted, "That's impossible," and then died mid-sentence. The other 3 stopped walking. I want to describe this precisely. 3 grown great masters, professional killers, and I watched their legs start shaking one at a time and their feet start moving backwards without their permission. "Useless," Mo Yi shouted, and then he re-evaluated me, and he got it exactly wrong in a way that killed him. He worked out that I was around 7-star great master, slightly below him. He concluded that my terrifying output came from an unusually good martial skill, which is true, technically, and completely misses the point. Little brother Lin Jie, your strength is impressive, but if you oppose Wolf Heaven, you'll only find death. I'm not unreasonable. You killed 2 of my men. Hand over that palm technique and we'll call it even and let you go. He wanted the technique. He was standing in a clearing with 2 of his people in pieces, negotiating for loot. Heh, enough nonsense. If you want the palm technique, come and take it. Fine, he turned to the others. He's only a 7-star, weaker than me. His output comes from a high-rank skill. If we attack together, we'll kill him. And that reassured them, because a number is comforting. And a number is exactly the wrong thing to trust when you're looking at someone like me. Qin Dong drew. The 2 Grey Robes drew. Mo Ye drew a longsword and came in behind them. 4 great masters, coordinated, all in. Heh, bullying the few with the many? I flipped my hand and a white crescent formed in it. Blade of Gale. Flick, silent. Just a line of white light crossing a clearing. "Be careful," Mo Yi shouted. Too late. A grey robe made half a sound, and his head went up into the air, cut clean, and the body took 2 more steps before it agreed to fall. A 2-star great master, removed, by a technique nobody had seen leave my hand. Damn it. Now Mo Yi was scared, and he was smart enough to know he should be. The palm was one thing, that white light was something else entirely, fast, silent, and nearly invisible. The remaining grey robe and Qin Dong looked like men doing math about their families. Here's the thing that kept them fighting, and it's genuinely grim. Running from Mo Yi meant Wolf Heaven hunts you, and Wolf Heaven doesn't stop at you. So they preferred to die in front of me than to disobey. That's the organization. That's how it holds. Ding! Killed a great master. 200,000 experience. Rank increased. 8-star great master. Getting stronger with every exchange. Literally, mid-fight. That's the part nobody could plan around. Every enemy I killed made the next one easier, in real time, during the same battle. All right, I said, then I'll play with you. Phantom step, straight into them. Heavenly Star Palm, same palm as before, twice the power, because I'd leveled twice in 90 seconds. They met it with everything. A sword strike, the raging dagger, and a technique called White Rainbow Illuminates the Fang. Boom. The forces met 2 meters apart and detonated before contact. Energy went out in a ring. The 9 Cities crew, watching from 30 meters away, had to shield their faces and retreat. 2 seconds later, Qin Dong and the Grey Robe were airborne, and Mo Yi had gone back 3 steps. 3 great masters, together, and I moved all of them. Nobody seriously injured, though. Mo Yi was tough. They came again, blades flashing, a wall of steel that would shred a normal man. And I have Phantom Step, and Phantom Step at max output makes 3 phantoms, and most of their attacks were hitting people who weren't there. I caught Qin Dong mid-recovery with a basic punch and knocked him flat. He'd burned everything running those mercenaries into the ground for 3 days, and he stayed down. And that opening cost me, because Mo Yi was waiting for exactly that. A breathtaking sword strike with extreme wind. His longsword thrust straight out, and there were currents spinning along the blade, and a few leaves that drifted into them came out the other side as powder. Powder, not pieces. I read the technique and my whole spine went cold. If that touches me, I come apart like a document. I stepped back and twisted out and landed several meters clear. Whoosh! A breathtaking sword strike, the crescent slash. He didn't stop, converted the thrust into a slash, and a crescent of chi came off the blade so bright it hurt. I kicked off the ground and went backwards through the air, spun, and hit a tree 6 meters up and clung there like a lizard, looking down at him. And I want to be honest, I was angry. Not tactically angry, actually angry. I've been pressured twice in a row and I don't enjoy it, and I never have. To receive without giving in return is impolite. I came off the tree. Mountain collapse. Of my 3 earth rank techniques, mountain collapse is the heaviest. And falling from 6 meters with all of it behind my elbow, I was less a person and more a dropped mountain with a schedule. Mo Ye sensed it early and ran. 9-star Great Masters get to do that. The last gray robe didn't. Boom. The crater took him off his feet, and the shockwave turned his organs into a rumor, and gravel opened him up on the way past. He landed like a sandbag, and he was dead before he stopped rolling. I didn't even hit him. The aftershock did. Mo Ye stood there with his mouth open. How is this possible? How could he be so powerful? What grade is that martial skill? Why is it so strong? And that's when he finally started being afraid, because he just watched a rank below him produce output several times above him. It hadn't been a long battle. Apart from Qin Dong, flat on the ground and out, Mo Ye was alone in a clearing with 4 of his people dead. The 9 cities mercenaries were speechless. Zhu Qing was staring at me with a very specific expression that I'd learned to recognize over the following months and never fully got comfortable with. You're the only one left. I dusted my fist off and smiled at him. So what? You can't kill me, really? Let's bet on it. On what? On whether I can kill you. And I moved. You. Admittedly, you're strong and young. You must be a core disciple of some hidden family, or you wouldn't have that strength or that martial skill. But you're still too green to kill me. He said that, and then he did something I'd never seen before. A single earth-shattering sword strike that unites the world! His long sword hummed, then it split in 2, then in 4. 4 blades floating in the air. He lifted 2 fingers and they hung there. Then he clapped his hands together and they merged back into something else. A great sword, 5 meters long, half a meter wide, hanging in the air with an edge you could feel from 10 paces. Absolutely terrifying. My hindbrain wanted to leave. I didn't stop moving, but I stopped being casual. There's a rule I made in that half second, and I've kept it ever since. When you can't identify a trump card, don't test it with your body. Mountain collapse? No. Heavenly Star Palm? No. Blade of Gale? No. I had no confidence in any of them against that thing, and being wrong meant being in 2 pieces. So I decided to spend War God value. Wasteful? Sure. 10 points is a lot when you've earned 60 in a lifetime, but dead men don't earn. Since I made this bet, I intend to win it. I jumped. Mountain collapse, earth split slash. Mo Ye's hands flew through seals and pointed, and the greatsword came up and came down like a falling tower, and a white wave rolled off the blade ahead of it. Both trump cards, at the same time, on one exchange. Mine landed first. The ground opened in a 10 by 10 grid, and magma came up, and the entire clearing turned into the inside of a furnace. The heat hit the mercenaries 30 meters back and made their hair curl. The greatsword came down into that and stopped. The white wave hit degradation and lost. I watched a 5-meter blade go from flawless silver to burnt black in about 2 seconds, and then start shaking, and then start sagging. And out in the smoke, Mo Ye went pale and started trembling, and blood came out of the corner of his mouth, because that sword was connected to him. The greatsword fell into the fire and hit the ground and shattered into pieces that melted into the flames. He went to his knees. Impossible. Impossible. Why did I lose? Why? It's time to end this. He looked up and there was nothing left in his face but hate and terror. You can't kill me. I'm the Silver Robe of the Wolf Heaven Mercenary Group, a core member. If you kill me, you're against Wolf Heaven and they'll hunt you forever. Wolf Heaven, I said. Don't worry, a two-faced mercenary group like this will be wiped out one day. I want to flag that sentence because at the time it was a boast and it did not stay a boast. No, don't kill me. He was crawling backwards and then his hand went into his robe. You'd think I'd have learned about hands going into robes. Xiaoming had done that 8 hours earlier. He came out with something small, black, round, and beautifully made. I didn't know what it was, but it was round and it was black and it looked exactly like something from my old world that ends conversations, and every hair on my arms stood up. So I used the best skill I own, Heavenly Eye. Name, Spiritual Chi Bullet. Description, a single-use weapon created by compressing the entire energy of a level 5 or higher beast core into a container and sealing it. Effect, once detonated, unleashes the power of a 5th-level demonic beast within a 5-meter radius. A 5th-level demonic beast. That's War King tier, compressed into a ball, in his hand. 4 meters from me. Holy shit! Blade of Gale! The crescent took his arm off at the elbow before his thumb finished moving. The bomb dropped and rolled. Second blade, no pause. His head came off and went up, and his eyes stayed open all the way, staring at the thing that was supposed to save him. I stood there breathing for a second. That's twice in one day. Xiaoming's needle and Mo Ye's bomb. 2 men who lost cleanly and then reached for something in a pocket. Lesson, written in permanent ink, they always have one more thing. Always. Kill them while they're still explaining why you can't. I picked the bomb up off the ground. It's finally over. And here's the honest assessment, because I refuse to pretend I fought that perfectly. It was short. It wasn't even thrilling. And the only reason it went that way is that Mo Ye underestimated me at the start and let me eat his people one at a time. 6 great masters, properly coordinated, with a 9-star anchoring them, and me not leveling 3 times mid-fight? That's a real problem. Even with the finisher, I'd have paid for it, maybe badly. They lost because their commander was arrogant. I made a note of that too.
It's the most common cause of death in this world, and it doesn't care what rank you are. Ding! Rank increased. 9-star Great Master. 1 step from War Spirit. Killing really is the best way to level up, I said out loud to nobody, standing in a burnt clearing full of corpses. And then I heard how that sounded and decided not to say it again. The loot was excellent. Experience by the truckload, which took me to 9-star Great Master. A pile of attribute pills, which go straight into my body and never come out. And finally, a weapon I could actually hold. Afterimage sword. Forged by the foremost blacksmith on the sacred martial continent, the description says. Leaves afterimages when swung. Increases sword proficiency by 5% and martial skill power by 5%. Use rank 20. I was rank 29. It worked. I took it out and looked at it, and it's a strange thing. 4 feet long, a foot wide, edges on both sides, and the tip cut off flat at a 30-degree angle like someone snapped it and then polished the break. It's a broken sword, deliberately. The lines are too clean to be damaged, and it weighs about 100 pounds. If I hadn't been a 9-star Great Master with a few hundred power pills in my system, that sword would have been an anchor. I'd have dragged it around like a man moving furniture. Instead, I swung it a few times, and the air filled with afterimages, and it looked spectacular. I'm shallow. I admit it. I was extremely happy about how cool it looked. Hello? A voice behind me, hesitant. The short-haired mercenary commander, Shu Qing, according to Heavenly Eye, which is a genuinely nice name, and she's genuinely beautiful. Not An Lan's tier, but she'd stop traffic anywhere, which is, I realized, exactly why she'd ended up on Mo Yi's list as prey instead of a contract. In a world that worships strength, being beautiful without power isn't an advantage. It's an unpaid bill that somebody eventually comes to collect. Hello, I said. My name is Shu Qing, leader of the 9 Cities mercenary group. Behind me are my people. She hesitated. Forgive my boldness, if you don't mind. May I know your name? Thank you for today. Without you, 9 cities would have died here. And then she immediately regretted asking, and I watched that happen too. Of course, if you'd rather not, then forget it. Because I just made an enemy of Wolf Heaven, and she'd realized that giving my name to anyone might paint a target on me. She'd known me for 6 minutes, and she was already trying to protect me from the consequences of saving her. It's all right. It's just a name. I'm Lin Jie. Lin Jie. Her eyes did something complicated. How old are you this year? Which is a rude question, and she asked it anyway, like the answer mattered enormously. Her crew gave her a look. She ignored them. 16. And then she went quiet and started muttering to herself, head down, and I have very good hearing. 16. That's really close to how he looks. So young. But I'm only 20 this year. That's not much different. They say a woman 3 years older is like holding a gold brick, so 4 years older means bringing home a treasure. Her face went scarlet. What? I said. Nothing. It's nothing. Hand wave. Complete subject change. Thank you for saving us. If you don't mind, may I invite you to visit Tianjua City? Yes, little brother Lin Jie. Come to Tianjua City. I'll treat you to grapefruit yak stew. It's amazing. Get lost. You think you can settle our savior with a grapefruit and a yak? He saved our lives. If you're treating him, treat him to the entire city. Whenever brother Lin Jie visits, you can eat whatever you want and do whatever you want. You've really blown the horn out of your chest. What if you can't afford it? I want you to understand that these people had been on their knees waiting to die 8 minutes ago, and now they were arguing about restaurant budgets. That's mercenaries. Honestly, I liked them. Tianjua City? I thought about it. Genuinely thought about it. I liked these people, and I liked her. But I had a duel in 2 days, and a 6-month clock, and a mission I couldn't explain to anyone. I'm sorry. I have things I have to handle. I can't come for now. I'll visit when I have time. She was disappointed, and she covered it fast. All right, then come find us in Tianjua City when you can. Let us do our best to be your hosts. I will, until we meet again. I clasped my hands like an ancient because, when in Rome, and turned and left. Behind me, 6 people clasped their hands back at a 16-year-old. And Shu Qing stood there watching until I was gone, which one of her men told me about years later, at a much worse time, in a much worse place. I doubled back after they left, not for anything noble, because there were 6 bodies in that clearing, and I'd just used a strange fire and a finisher in front of witnesses, and I didn't need 9 cities carrying a description of my abilities to every tavern in Tianjua City. Also, corpses are evidence, and I had a purple flame that eats evidence, purple fire, split 6 ways, tossed, sizzle. The whole clearing lit violet for a second, and then there was nothing but ash and bloodstains, and that's when I counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bodies. There should be 6. I stood very still. Qin Dong. I'd knocked him flat with a basic punch mid-fight. He'd gone down. He'd stopped moving. And I, genuinely, honestly, never checked. Then I got busy killing Mo Yi, and then I got busy being charming at a mercenary commander, and somewhere in there, a professional survivor with a career built on playing the victim had lain very still, waited for everyone to leave, and crawled off into the dark. He faked his death. Of course he faked his death. That is his entire personality. That's the man who staged a 3-day chase as a business plan. Oh no, this is terrible. I searched properly. For a long time, with Heavenly Eye running. The clearing was ruined, blood everywhere, ash everywhere, rubble everywhere. There was no trail to find. He was gone, and he knew what I looked like, and he was going to tell Wolf Heaven. I killed a silver-robed core member. That's not a slight. That's an organizational problem for them. If a nobody can kill a silver robe and walk away, everyone starts wondering what else is possible. They were going to come for me. Not maybe, not eventually. They were going to send everything. I stood there in the ash and made the only decision available, which was to stop caring. What is meant to be will be. Because the answer to a powerful organization is going to hunt you is not hide. Hiding just means they find you later at a worse level. The answer is get strong enough that the hunt becomes their problem. I flashed away and went deeper into the forest. And I want to note the exact quality of my mood because it's important. I wasn't worried. I was excited.
Wolf Heaven was going to keep sending people, strong people, great masters, and then better than great masters, over and over, delivered directly to me on a schedule at their expense. Do you understand what that is? That's a spawner, level 3 zone. I skipped the low tiers entirely this time, walked past level 1s and 2s like a man walking past a bake sale. 20 minutes in, I found the residence. A dozen creatures, cat-shaped if you squint, with fur in red and white and black. Jie limbs, wrong proportions, cats with monkey bodies, and scarlet eyes. Name, bloodthirsty cat demon, level 23. Level 3 Yao beast, social, extremely fast, goes berserk at the smell of blood, claws that tear through armor. Assessment, moderate threat, moderate. To me, to a normal Great Master, these things are a funeral, but they're fast, and I'm faster, because I've eaten enough agility pills to outrun my own reputation. Let's begin our epic monster luring mission. Smack. I threw a rock at one's head. It dodged, blurred sideways, and the stone went past. Genuinely embarrassing. I stood there for a second like a man who's missed a trash can in front of his friends. Then 12 pairs of scarlet eyes turned and locked onto me, and I realized that missing had worked perfectly anyway. Phantom step. And off we went. And here's the interesting part. As I ran deeper, more cat demons came, but I wasn't finding anything else. No other species at all, which meant this was one creature's territory, and nothing else was permitted to live in it, which meant there was a boss. The thought made me so happy I nearly missed a tree, and then it appeared in front of me, twice the size of the others, blood red glow across its whole body, green claws, not green fur, green claws, coated in something, and the tips gleamed. Name, Poison Cat King, level 37, 4th level demonic beast. Description: a creature that escaped from the ruins of legend, bred and evolved in Wind Moon Forest until it became a king. Fast as lightning, claws coated in poison. At close range, it sprays a poison mist which kills on contact. Assessment: high threat, 4th level. That's War Spirit tier. That's a full realm above me. Captain class, the thing that owns this section of forest. Head on, I die. That's not humility, that's the assessment screen telling me so in plain language. So I didn't go head on. I threw a rock at it. I have never in my life felt so pleased with the decision. The Poison Cat King came off the ground like something falling upward, and behind it, every cat demon in that territory came out of the trees at once. And here's where the plan got better than I deserved. Because with the king chasing, I didn't have to aggro anything anymore. The whole species joined in automatically. Every step I took, more of them poured in from the hills, and I hadn't thrown a stone in 10 minutes. Has my hatred level really reached this point? Did I incite racial hatred? I mean, all I'd done was throw a few rocks. Comparatively, I'd been polite. But the taunt effect was dozens of times stronger this time, and within an hour there were 4 digits worth of cat demons behind me, and they were in formation. That's what got me, not the number, the formation. Neat rows, even spacing, not too dense, not too loose, moving as a block, at speed, through a forest, without a single collision, because the king was commanding them. I turned my head while running and grinned at it. I'd like to say that was tactical. It wasn't. I was just delighted, because a low-density, evenly spaced formation is exactly what you want when you're about to drop area damage on it. No overlap, maximum coverage. The Poison Cat King had spent its whole life learning to organize its subjects, and it had accidentally optimized them for my attack. It did not appreciate the smile. Grumble. Its eyes went from light red to dark red, and it accelerated, and every cat demon behind it screamed at once. It was pitch dark. Without Heavenly Eye, I'd have been running from a wall of noise. With it, I could see thousands of glowing scarlet eyes moving in a block behind me, all of them fixed on the back of my head. I'd like to say that wasn't terrifying. It was completely terrifying. It's just that the number in my head was bigger than the fear. Not enough. I ran another circuit and picked up a few hundred more. Still not enough. Finally, I stopped and wiped the sweat off my face. Now, and I took out the afterimage sword. Because of something I'd been wondering about for 2 days. Every single time I cast Mountain Collapse Earth Split Slash, my hand makes a grasping motion, like I'm squeezing a grip, every time. even with nothing in my hand, which is exactly the kind of thing that means the animation was designed for a weapon. If I add the weapon, does the power go up? Only one way to find out, and I had 4,000 test subjects lined up in neat rows. Jumping with a 100-pound greatsword is not easy. If I'd been any weaker, I'd have gone up half a meter and come down on my face. Instead, it was merely heavy. Mountain collapse, earth split slash. I came down and drove the afterimage sword into the earth, and the world ended, twice as big as before. That's the short version. Everything about it doubled. The area wasn't 10 meters by 10. It was 13 by 13. The magma came higher and lasted longer and burned hotter. The flames didn't roll outward. They stood up like a wall and then fell on everything. Nearly every cat demon in that formation was charcoal before the shockwave finished expanding. The ones on the fringe caught fire and stayed on fire. Even the poison cat king, a 4th-level demonic beast, a creature that outranks me by a whole realm, came out of that covered in blood, shaking, with fear in its eyes. I had guessed right. The finisher wants a weapon. More than twice the power from adding one item. I want to appreciate that for a second because it's the single best thing I ever figured out on my own. A skill I've been firing at half strength for 3 days, all because nobody hands you a tooltip footnote. That's the difference between having a cheat and using one. The Poison Cat King turned and ran, a 4th-level demonic beast, War King tier by human measure, blood pouring off it, one eye squeezed shut, and it turned its back on me and fled. And when it ran, every surviving cat demon that could still stand ran too, like something unspeakable had come into the forest, which, from their perspective, is exactly what happened. Hey, I sneered and went after it, because that thing was worth more experience than everything else in this forest put together. The chase reversed. 10 minutes ago, the boss was hunting me. Now I was closing on it, and if anyone had been watching, they'd have thought I was insane. The overlord of a 4th-level territory being run down by a teenager. Cat demons kept throwing themselves at me. Level 3s, creatures that would ruin an ordinary great master's whole month, and in my hands, they were vegetables, sword through, palm through, dead. Next, some of them stopped running and turned to fight, knowing perfectly well what would happen, buying their king seconds with their lives. What a noble spirit of racial justice, I said out loud while killing them. I did not stop. I thought about that since, whether that was the moment, whether admiring their loyalty out loud while cutting through it was the moment I should have checked myself. Probably. I didn't. Heavenly Star Palm at full output killed 1 or 2 per strike. Phantom Step meant none of them touched me. I went through a species like a man late for something. The only thing that annoyed me was the sword. I had no sword technique, 0. So the afterimage sword hit like a heavy stick. It could wound a cat demon but not one-shot it, while my palm could. A 100-pound legendary blade performing at 1/10 of my hand. I made a note, get a sword art, preferably earth rank, foreshadowing as they say. Soon there was just the king, alone, ahead of me, slowing, shaking, legs unsteady, breathing wrong. 3 meters. I closed to 3 meters and I was already thinking about the loot screen. And that is exactly, precisely when it killed me. It stopped, slammed on the brakes like a car, spun its head around, opened its mouth, and sprayed. Green mist, thick as a wall, spreading meters in a heartbeat. The flowers under it withered in real time. Not wilted, withered, dried, dead in the space of a breath, as though something had drunk them. Not good. Heavenly Eye had told me about the poison, both parts, claws and mist. I'd read it, I'd known it, and then I'd spent 40 minutes obsessed with killing it and completely forgot that a cornered animal has one last thing. Same mistake as the Gale Wolf King. Same mistake as Mo Ye's bomb. 3rd time. I don't learn quickly, apparently. I just survived long enough to be told again. I was 3 meters away. There was no clean escape. I covered my mouth and nose with my sleeve and twisted out sideways with everything Phantom Step had, and still breathed in a lot of it. The world tilted. My arms went heavy. There's a specific feeling to real poison, not pain, just the sensation of the volume being turned down on your entire body. I was seconds from losing the ability to fight, and after that, from dying on a forest floor. So I spent every one of those seconds on offense. Because here's the thing about that mist. It's a last resort. It costs. After using it, the Poison Cat King goes into a weakened state for a long time, and in that window, anything can kill it. That's why it hadn't used it until I'd driven it into a corner. I got my teeth together, went around the edge of the cloud, and swung the afterimage sword with everything I had left. Puff. The sound of a heavy blade going through a skull. Half the king's head came off. It stood there with one scarlet eye and its mouth still open in the spraying position, an animal that had just discovered that its trump card wasn't enough. Then it toppled, and I went down on my knees. My consciousness was going. I could feel it draining out through the bottom of my mind, and I'd only stayed upright by refusing to accept the alternative. But I knew, with absolute clarity, that I could not pass out. If I lost consciousness in that forest with that poison in my lungs, I was never waking up. The problem is that knowing you can't faint has never once prevented fainting. Am I going to die? I actually laughed, a miserable little laugh, alone, in the dirt. I had a heaven-defying golden finger.
A war god system, every advantage a transmigrator gets in every story ever written. And I was going to die to a mid-tier cat because I got greedy chasing loot. Not to a rival, not to the Purple Cloud sect, not to some grand enemy, to a cat. And it wasn't even a fair trade. My talent was worth many times its talent. My future was worth many times its future. It got the better end of that deal, and it was already dead. I hadn't married anyone, hadn't become a strong expert, hadn't kept the 6-month promise, hadn't done anything. The hallucinations started, which is a real symptom and not a metaphor. Faces from Earth, people I'd known before, dead and alive, running past behind my eyes. Then An Lan, whispering something worried. Then Zhao Ming, cursing me. Then Jiang Yue, looking at me the way you look at a stain. No, I don't want to die. I roared it at the trees, and it took the last of what I had, and I went down flat with my eyes closing. And exactly then, with my eyelids shutting, the poison cat king, lying 6 meters away with half a head, finally exhaled its last breath. Ding! Congratulations to player Lin Jie for killing 4th level demonic beast Poison Cat King. 1 million experience points, 10 war god value, rank increase. Whoosh, yellow halo, from the ground up, and everything stopped hurting. I want to be precise about this because it's the single most important mechanic I learned in this world, and I learned it while dying. Leveling up removes all negative status effects. All of them. Poison, exhaustion, wounds, the whole list, wiped clean, health restored, like a save file loading. The fog left my head, my lungs opened, the weight came off my arms. I went from 4 breaths short of death to a man standing up in a forest feeling better than he had all week. I got up, checked my own hands, exhaled, and then I laughed so hard I had to lean on a tree. Wahahaha! Alive. Genuinely alive. If I hadn't spent my last conscious second swinging that sword, if I'd tried to retreat instead, the king survives, I don't level, and there's a body in that forest that nobody ever finds. I killed the thing that was killing me, and its death saved my life. That is the stupidest, most beautiful mechanic I have ever exploited. I was giddy for about a minute. That specific high you only get coming back from the edge. I finally understood why people on Earth jump out of aircraft for fun. And then the fear caught up, and it was much bigger than the high. Because here's what actually happened tonight. I have a war god system. I level like a rocket. I've killed great masters like they were chores. And I nearly died to a level 4 beast because I got excited about a drop. I'm not invincible. I'm a human body with an unusually fast growth curve. Everything that kills other people kills me exactly the same way. Never assume. Never chase. Never stop paying attention because the fight looks won. I've broken that rule since, but I've never forgotten I made it. The loot, incidentally, was absurd. 1 million experience, which took me from 9-star Great Master through the wall to War Spirit, and then up 2 more stars to 3-star War Spirit. War Spirit. Above my father. Above the 7th Elder. Above the strongest man in the Lin family. 4 days after waking up as a cripple. Plus, Heavenly Heart Guidance, Earth Rank, Upper Grade Sword Art. Point the sword, fire a line of sword chi, damage equal to 1.5 times my strength. A sword art, the exact thing I'd complained about not having 40 minutes earlier while chasing this animal. Divine Movement Boots. Never sleep, never rest, travel thousands of miles. Wearing them increases movement speed and stamina by 30%. I tested the sword first, pointed at a tree, Heavenly Heart Guidance. Whoosh. A white line left the blade and crossed 40 meters, and the ground under its path opened in a straight groove like someone had dragged a plow through it. And then a tree that 2 men couldn't have hugged came apart into 2 pieces. I stood there with my mouth open. That cutting force is dozens of times Blade of Gale. It's stronger than Mountain Collapse. It's the best thing I own that isn't the finisher. Earth Rank, Upper Grade. Now I understood what the tiers actually mean. Then I put on the boots and took a step and crossed the clearing. Not ran, stepped and arrived and had to stop myself against a tree. Without Phantom Step, just walking. I turned Phantom Step on to see what would happen and briefly stopped existing in any single location. 4 blurs, appearing and vanishing, so fast that I lost track of which one I was steering. If my old speed was walking, and the boots made it cycling, then Phantom Step on top of the boots was a sports car with the brakes cut. I stood in a dead forest at 4 in the morning, 3-star War Spirit, holding a broken legendary sword, wearing boots that outran wind, with an upper grade sword art in my head and a purple flame in my palm. 4 days, and there was still 1 day left before the duel, so I went deeper. The Lin family training ground was full an hour before the duel. Everyone came. Clan chief, elders, disciples, servants, people who'd never watched a fight in their lives, because this was the 2 best young men in the family, and one of them was legally allowed to kill the other. Lin Jie was already up there. He'd arrived early. That's the part I respect. He hadn't dismissed me. He'd spent the previous day running through everything he knew, confirming his condition, and then going to bed at a sensible hour like a professional.
Lin Jie is a useless war master and you're a great master, Li Zhao said, standing beside him. Do you really need to take it this seriously? You don't understand. He shook his head. Lin Jie gives me a strange feeling. I can't name it. He feels dangerous, and he has an advanced martial skill. I'm not confident I can beat him. Brother Jie, you're boosting his morale and killing your own. Your cultivation went up another level these past days. You're a 2-star great master. You're almost catching the elders. Then she said the part that actually mattered. No matter how much you respect him, he killed my brother. He's our enemy. When you're on that stage, you have to kill him. Otherwise, you're failing killing my brother's spirit, and if you can't kill Lin Jie, I might never speak to Brother Jie again, he sighed, then promised. All right, I promise. If I can defeat him, I'll kill him on the stage, no holding back. So there it is, the best man in this family, a genuine talent, standing on a stage he didn't want to be on, promising to kill someone he admired because a girl he liked asked him to. Lin Jie's problem was never his talent.
Up on the Elder's platform, the 7th Elder finally broke his silence. Clan Chief, is it true you won't interfere with the outcome, even if Lin Jie is killed? Of course, if Lin Jie loses, he wasn't skilled enough. He can blame nobody. My father didn't look at him. However, I believe Lin Jie will win. Confidence is a good thing. Arrogance is presumptuous. And then, because elders are the same in every world, one of them proposed a betting pool. Elder Lin Jie, quick-witted, loves scheming, and volunteered to run the book. Lin Jie wins 1 to 30. Lin Jie wins 30 to 1. 30 to 1 on me. Every single elder put money on Jie. Even the 7th elder pulled out a fistful and pushed it across without a word. Only my father declined, glaring at Lin Jie, because no father enjoys watching people bet on whether his son survives the afternoon. He didn't stop it though. He couldn't, not without going against all of them at once. And then the hour ran out and I wasn't there. What happened? Did Lin Jie run? After all, he's only a war master. Against the #1 genius, if it were me, I wouldn't have agreed in the first place. Trash is trash.
However strong the body, the martial heart stays fragile.
I haven't seen him in 3 days. His house is empty. He might have run 3 days ago. What a disappointment. I wanted a dragon and tiger fight, and the trash didn't dare show. The 7th Elder's face was frost. He'd stopped mocking my father entirely because he'd realized that if I didn't come, he didn't get his revenge, and that mattered more to him than winning an argument. My father was worried, genuinely. He knew I'd gone out to train because I don't lie to him about that, and he knew what Wind Moon Forest does to people. Lin Jie shook his head. I misjudged him. He looked disappointed. Actually, disappointed. He'd wanted an opponent and gotten a coward. Let's go, he said. I'll gather men and hunt him down. For Ming. Swish, 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 a sound like fabric tearing at speed. Something came into the training ground so fast that nobody could identify what it was, human, ghost, or animal, and landed on the stage. Who? Every elder came to the railing, and there I was, filthy, torn, dusty, and 1 hour and 0 minutes late. It's Lin Jie. He actually came. Look at the state of him. Has he been begging for 3 days? Who cares? We get a fight. The crowd flooded back to the stage like water into a drain. Up on the platform, my father was smiling and doing arithmetic he didn't like. Because when he'd first seen me after the change, he could read me at 9-star War Apprentice. When I hit War Master, he could read that too. Now he looked at me and got nothing, which meant one of two things. Either I'd acquired something that conceals rank, or my rank was higher than his. The former was likely. The latter was insane, and given the speed I'd been improving at, he couldn't rule it out. I watched him decide to enjoy the surprise. You came, Lin Jie said. He was smiling. He'd written me off, and I'd walked back in with an aura on me that only strong experts have, and instead of being embarrassed about being wrong, he was excited about it. Honestly, I didn't want to come. I'm not interested in you, but I didn't want people saying I'm untrustworthy, so here I am. Heh, you're confident. He didn't rise to it at all. Since you're here, let's skip the pleasantries. As you wish. The crowd was already talking. Even if he made War Master, there's a chasm between War Master and Great Master. Advanced techniques don't cross that. If Lin Jie wins, I'll eat the screaming stone from the back mountain. That stone's harder than diamond. That's my point. Down in the crowd, one Lin family member said, what a pity. The trash didn't even get to be arrogant for long before someone took it away from him. Before we started, Jie said one more thing. Lin Jie, I admire you. If you hadn't killed Xiao Ming, we might have been friends. If you want to be my friend, you'll have to see if you're qualified. If you want revenge for Xiao Ming, come on. You're still arrogant, but I'm sorry. Once you're on this stage, you have to die. That's the condition I promised Sister Lin. As long as I kill you, she'll marry me on a chosen day. It's always been my wish. I looked down at Li Xiao in the crowd. Is that her? She's nothing special. And she moved the #1 genius of the Lin family this much. Your martial spirit isn't anything special either. You won't go far. You, say what you want about me, but you're not allowed to say anything about my sister Lin. Even if she isn't that great, in my heart, she's perfect. Which, fine, I actually respect that answer, and it doesn't change the diagnosis. A man who abandons his own judgment for someone else's grudge has already stopped climbing. Enough talk. If you want to kill me, come on. I'll be honest about my motivation at that moment. I've been killing things for 3 days straight without sleeping, and I was exhausted. I wanted this over so I could go to bed. Okay, here I come. He threw a punch. 50%. No technique. A probe. The whole crowd went silent and held their breath. Now, let me tell you what those 3 days had actually done, since nobody in that training ground knew.
I had gone in as a 5-star War Master. I came out as a 5-star War Spirit. Not a rank, a realm. 2 whole tiers above where they thought I was. Above my father, above the 7th Elder, above every living Lin. Lin Jie, 2-star Great Master, was a full realm beneath me. 20 of him wouldn't have been a fight. So when the fist came in, I put out 2 fingers and flicked it. Bang. He went backwards through the air, several meters, and nearly off the edge of the stage.
He got up fast, staring at his own hand. Impossible. But his fingers were numb and he'd traveled 6 meters, so it wasn't. The crowd made a noise like a building settling. Isn't Lin Jie a War Master? When did he? We're both War Masters. Why is there that much difference? That wasn't War Master strength. He must have reached Great Master. 3 days. War Master to Great Master in 3 days. You're joking. Even a Great Master isn't that strong. He used 2 fingers. 2! And it wasn't a deflection. That was a straight overpower. No, I don't believe it. That good-for-nothing can't have crushed our #1 genius. Beat me to death. I won't believe it. Maybe Jie was being polite. That last one caught on fast, because it was the only version that let them keep their worldview. The elders on the platform saw it properly. They're strong enough to. They understood immediately that it was a raw power crush. They also noticed Jie had only used 50%, which gave them somewhere to hide. I never expected Lin Jie to reach Great Master in this time, one said. No wonder he dared. This is getting interesting. 2 Great Masters. It seems the Lin family is about to prosper. 2 geniuses in 1 generation, both Great Masters this young. Congratulations, clan chief. And my father, waving his hand modestly, was quietly having the best day of his life. The 7th Elder snorted, and his eyes went somewhere dark, and he made a decision that I want you to remember, because it happens in about 90 seconds. I don't know how you did that, Jie said, but I used 5 levels of power. Be careful. Then come, use everything. Fine, then I'll show you the Lin family's profound rank, high-grade martial skill. He put his palms together and murmured something. Then he gripped his right wrist with his left hand, and white energy gathered visibly out of his body and poured into his right fist until it glowed. Kill, break the mystic ice. The fist came at me, trailing a half-circle of dark yellow flame and a shriek that hurt to hear. And the crowd lost their minds. He learned mystic ice break. That's passed down from our ancestral sect. Terrifying power, nearly impossible to learn. He really is the #1 genius. Lin Jie's in trouble. He reached Great Master fast. That's genuinely top-tier talent. Shame he ran into a bigger genius. I can already see how tragic this ends. Even my father winced. Because Mystic Icebreak is the strongest technique the Lin family owns. It's the ancestral one. My father, the clan chief, 5-star Great Master, never mastered it. He'd personally granted Jie permission to learn it, and given him the generational character in his name, and started grooming him as the next clan chief, which meant the technique currently flying at my face existed because my father had approved it. He sighed, out loud. He'd done this to me. One person in that entire crowd wasn't worried. Anlan didn't move at all. She'd seen what I could do. And more than that, I found out much later, she'd grown up around things so far above a profound rank technique that this whole spectacle was, to her, a child showing off a firework. She just watched me with her hands folded and thought, I believe in you. The fist got to within half a meter. I hadn't moved. Some people in the crowd closed their eyes. Oh. I put out one hand, bent my middle finger, and flicked. The same flick as before, 1 finger instead of 2. He's gone mad! That's a profound rank high-grade martial skill, and he's flicking it. He's asking for death. I couldn't watch him get his head smashed before, but now I want to see it. Even the elders thought so, and they were the only people there who understood the technique well enough to be properly horrified. Then the flick landed. The force went out ahead of my finger and hit the crescent wave first, and the wave parted for it. Then it struck the white light around his fist, and the light cracked, visibly cracked, like an egg, and every crack spread at once, and the whole thing shattered with a sound like a dropped bell. The Lin family's ancestral technique, gone, in less than a second. Ah, how is this possible? And the force didn't stop. It kept going, into his fist, and up his arm, and through everything attached to it. Boom! He went 11 meters and off the stage and hit the ground, and spat blood, and passed out. Absolute silence. You could have heard someone drop a coin. Then one slap of a hand against a thigh, somewhere in the crowd, and it all came apart. How is Lin Jie that strong? He's been accumulating this whole time. He was a complete waste, and now he's unparalleled. Thank God I never bullied him. Jie is a 2-star Great Master. If he can't take 1 flick, who in this family can? A new #1 genius has been born, and the elders came off the platform in a group to congratulate my father, who accepted it with excellent grace and no humility whatsoever. Thank you, elders. Lin Jie is still young. However strong he is, he's one person. He'll need your help. Beautiful. Absolutely shameless. 2 exchanges. That's all it took. 5 levels of power, flicked away with 2 fingers. Full power plus the ancestral technique, flicked away with 1. I turned to go back to my house and sleep for a day, which is when the 7th Elder jumped off the platform at my back. You brat Lin Jie, give me back my grandson's life. Full strength, everything he had, into 1 punch at the back of a boy who just turned away, while every elder in the clan was busy flattering the clan chief and nobody was looking. A 2-star Great Master ambushing a junior at a public event.
If it lands, I die, and no god saves me. Except, I was a war spirit. I had senses sharp enough to hear people breathing across a courtyard. He didn't ambush me. I watched him leave the platform. I watched him wind up. I let him commit. Then I turned around. Heavenly Star Palm. His fist met my palm, and I felt him realize, in that exact instant, that he'd made a mistake, and that it was far too late to stop. Bang! He went 11 meters through the air with his pupils blown wide and blood coming out of his mouth in a trail. Several disciples who couldn't get out of the way got sprayed. He hit the ground, his eyes rolled, and he was dead. Ding! Killed Feng Wei. 100,000 experience. Silence again. Deeper this time. I looked at the corpse of the second most powerful man in the Lin family, snorted, and walked off the stage. Let me be clear about that one, since it's the only killing that afternoon. Xiao Ming spent a week trying to have me murdered. The seventh elder backed every attempt, demanded I be crippled and exiled, and then ambushed me from behind in front of witnesses.
That line was going to keep coming until one of us was gone. I just used a little strength and removed the problem. Everyone had the same thought at once, and it wasn't about morality. It was, the Lin family is about to change. Lin Jie, you monster, you murderer, I'll fight you to the death. Li Xiao. Grandfather dead on the ground, brother dead 3 days ago, running at me screaming with a sword. 4-star War Master, against a war spirit. I waved my hand and made a wind that pushed her over without hurting her. If you want revenge, come back when you have the strength. You're far beneath me. I wouldn't deign to kill you. 3 reasons, and I'll give you all 3 honestly. 1. I don't hit women. 2. She is no threat, now or ever. I have a system. She could find a miracle in a cave and never catch me. 3, and least flattering, she's a war master. She's worth almost no experience. At my level, she's a rounding error. Lin Jie, wait, I'll tear you to pieces. I smiled and kept walking and left the training ground. Behind me, the whole clan boiled over. 2 fingers to the number 1 genius, 1 palm to the second most powerful man in the family. Nobody dared call me trash again. Several of them started calling me an idol, which I found extremely funny given that most of them had thrown things at me a week earlier. The elders sat down together with my father and started talking in low voices. I'd learn what that was about in 3 days. I got back to my house and something small hit me in the back and hung on. Brother Lin Jie, my Laner, you startled me. Did you see your brother being impressive just now? Of course I did. I cheered for you, but it was too loud you couldn't hear. I hugged her and she went red and didn't let go, and we stayed like that for a while. Then she stepped back and something in her face changed, and my stomach dropped before she said a word. Brother Lin Jie, there's something I need to tell you. This might be our last meeting. What? I want to go home. Go home? Isn't this your home? I mean my own clan. You understand what I mean. You know I'm not really a Lin. I'd known since the seat in the elders row that nobody objected to. I'd just been carefully not thinking about it. My family's home is very, very far away, she said. After this trip, I don't know when Laner will be able to see Brother Lin Jie again. Then her eyes went red. Brother Lin Jie, I can't bear to part with you. I hugged her because that was all I had. I can't bear it either. And I understand I'm not qualified to be with you right now, but I'll work. Believe me, it won't be long before I come and find you. I believe you. And then she told me who she was. Her name isn't Lin, it's Gao. She's the daughter of the clan chief of the Gao family of the Wushuan sacred domain, which is not in the western regions, and not in any of the 4 great domains. It's outside them entirely. The Gao family sent her here as a child because they have the faintest connection to the Lin family, and her father wanted her to have a normal childhood, in a place where nobody could reach her. And the scale of them, any single elder-level martial artist of the Gao family could crush any sect in the 4 great domains. Not fight, crush. One person, any of the 4 domains. And they have countless elders at that level. The Purple Cloud Sect, the monster that had walked into my house and taken my engagement because nobody could stop them, is beneath the Gao family's notice. I've been walking around for a week planning revenge on a sect that her family wouldn't consider a competitor. That's the gap between me and the girl who'd stood in front of a thug for me. I want to record what I felt because it wasn't despair. It was relief that I finally had a number to beat. Then I'd better get moving, I said. She left the next morning with an escort. We walked out together, turning around every few steps, all the way to the gate, getting further apart every time. And I found out much later what happened past the gate. The woman escorting her is called Tang Hua, An Lan's personal bodyguard, strength unknown, and the entire reason the Gao family was willing to leave their daughter in a small clan for a decade. She'd been in the shadows the whole time, watching, under orders never to reveal herself unless An Lan was in danger. She nearly came out once, the night Lin Rui kicked my door in, because An Lan had put herself between him and me, and if he'd swung, she wouldn't have walked away clean. Tang Hua was moving. And then I killed him first, and she stopped and stayed hidden, so she'd watched all of it.
Young miss, Lin Jie seems like a good boy, but his status and abilities are lacking. It would be extremely difficult. The clan chief would never agree. Forget him as soon as you can. Aunt Hua, I know, but I really can't bear it. He's my first love. He's my youth. If it ends here, I'll be heartbroken. No matter how reluctant you are, it won't work. The gap is too big. Unless what? Unless the family agrees. And there are two ways that happens. Which? First, Lin Jie's strength reaches a certain level and the Gao family values him. I know that already. Brother Lin Jie is working. And the second, Tang Hua looked at her seriously. From today, you cultivate properly. When you're strong enough to have a voice in the Gao family, then who you choose is entirely up to you. And Anlan's face lit up. The sacred martial continent worships strength. If you're strong enough, what can't you have? Thank you, Aunt Hua.
I'll work hard. Tang Hua shook her head, aching a little, and thought, that Lin Jie is truly despicable, getting this deep into a girl this fast. Which is fair, but also, she was the one who just told a 15-year-old girl to become powerful enough to marry whoever she wants. Aunt Hua, you're not as neutral as you think you are. I stood at the gate for a long time after the carriage was gone. 20 days. 20 days ago, I was a corpse at the bottom of a cliff in a world with electricity, and then a cripple in a strange bed in a world without it. I couldn't cultivate. I couldn't fight. My own family had a word for me, and they used it in front of my father. Now the second chair of the Lin family was mine, and the man who'd sat in it was Ash. I'd flicked the greatest genius this clan produced in a century off a marble stage with one finger. I'd killed a great master hunting party, a 9-star silver robe, a boss that nearly took me with it. I was a 5-star war spirit at 16, which is a number that makes elders go quiet. Everything I'd wanted 20 days ago, I had. And it wasn't enough by an amount I couldn't even measure. Because a girl had just walked out of that gate, and her family doesn't rank the Purple Cloud sect as a rival. They rank it as weather. The sect that walked into my father's hall and took my engagement in front of everyone, because nobody here could stop them, her people wouldn't bother learning its name. That's the distance. That's the actual number. Not the 7th elder, not Lin Jie, not Jiang Yue and her 6 months. The distance between me and a girl who stood in front of a thug for a boy everyone called garbage. I checked the panel one more time before I went inside. 5-star war spirit, 4 techniques at full proficiency, an upper grade sword art I'd used exactly once, a strange fire, a finisher I could fire twice more before I was empty, and a main quest sitting in the corner of my vision where it's been sitting since the day it was issued. 6 months. The Purple Cloud sect. In public. 5 months and 10 days left. Here's what I didn't know. Standing in an empty gateway with my hands in my sleeves. Somewhere north, in a hall I'd never seen, a purple-robed old man with a kind face and a scar on his neck had already been told about a boy in Wind Moon Forest who killed a silver robe. He'd already given the order. He'd already sent 2 gold robes and 30 war spirits and a man with a scar over his eye to point me out. One of those teams was on a road I was about to walk down. The other was already inside Fengye City, waiting near my family's compound, with orders to take me alive and find out what I am. And in 5 days, 10,000 people were going to gather in the middle of that city to watch the West Mansion qualification exams, my father's 4 hopefuls, an examiner who just decided to bet his career on me, and every aristocratic family in the region sitting in the good seats. Wolf Heaven was going to walk into the middle of it. I've been told my whole life here that I've made an enemy I can't afford. My father thinks it. Guan Qi thinks it. Qin Dong certainly thinks it, and he's the only one of them who's actually seen me work. They're all reading it the same way, and they're all reading it backwards. Wolf Heaven doesn't send one team, they send teams. Forever. Wave after wave of war spirits and war kings, trained at their expense, delivered to whatever city I happen to be standing in for as long as I keep saying no. Everyone keeps telling me I'm being hunted. Nobody's checked the loot table. Ask me again in 5 days who was farming who.